Okay, okay. What up, Scotty?
How y'all feel out there?
All right, so now we got every number one rap song on the Hot 100. We got Eminem as a cover. Shout out to Complex. Look at this. Ice Ice Baby. Real hip hop heads hated him rather. You had Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, Mark Wahlberg, 91. You had PM Dawn, who got thrown off stage by KRS One. You see where I'm going here? Crisscross Jump. We had love for the little kids. Can't be mad at the little kids. You have no sound? I got sound. Who else has no sound? Can you hear me talking right now? Refresh your feed. Yo, refresh your feed. Could you hear the video, Scotty? Shout out to Jermaine Dupri. Sir Mix a Lot, baby, but got back. Can you hear that? Can you hear the video? All right, cool. All right, so now we got every number one rap song on the Hot 100. We got Eminem as a cover. Shout out to Complex. Look at this. Ice Ice Baby. Real hip hop heads hated him rather. You had Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, Mark Wahlberg, 91. You had PM Dawn, who got thrown off stage by KRS One. You see where I'm going here? Crisscross Jump. We had love for the little kids. Can't be mad at the little kids. Shout out to Jermaine Dupri. Sir Mix a Lot, baby, but got back. I mean, come on. You can't, you can't be mad at the derriere. You know what I mean? This song been sampled forever. This man's been eating great off of this one song. You know what I mean? Shout out to Seattle. Baby got back. Snow Informer. Hey, man. MC Shan produced it. Some people loved it. We were cool with it because we didn't know. But hey, it is what it is. Canadian dude. Sounding like he was doing reggae. Coolio Gangsta Paradise, the remake of Stevie Wonder. Come on. 95. You know what I mean? Bone Thugs, The Crossroads. Well deserved. Everybody loved the Crossroads. Everybody loved the Crossroads song. Easy Has Passed. It was very sentimental. You know what I mean? Produced by DJ Unique. You know what I mean? Tupac, How Do You Want It? California Love. Huge records, A and B side. You know what I mean? Diddy Mace, Can't Nobody Hold Me Down. We're starting to get, again, we're getting respectable hip hop. That real hip hop heads were loving the singles. Hypnotized, Biggie. Rest in peace, Biggie. You know what I mean? Faith, 112, I'll Be Missing You. Puffy doing his joint. They sampled Sting. Sting gets all the money till this day.
To this day.
You know what I mean? More money, more problems. I mean, people still say that to this day.
To this day.
Getting jiggy with it. Jay-Z written lyrics. We didn't know that till years later. 1998, Will Smith. Girl, you better watch out. Watch out. Some girls, you know what I mean? Lauryn Hill, 1998. Wild Wild West, Will Smith was still getting jiggy with a movie that didn't do well, but the single made number one. Sorry, Miss Jackson. Great song. And the South got something to say.
But it's like this, the South got something to say. That's all I got to say.
Outkast, Miss Jackson, 2001. You know what I mean? Crazy Town Butterfly, that was the poppiest pop. I don't think nobody in hip-hop really respected it, but the suburban crowd embraced it, 2001.
Facts.
Ja Rule, Shanti. Rule, baby! He was taking over from 99 on, pre-50. Hot in Here, Nelly, come on. You know that one. I mean, Nelly and Kelly, love you, doing the Patti LaBelle. Even Patti was in there. You know what I mean? This is before her sweet potato pies. You know what I'm saying? Eminem, Lose Yourself. Great movie, great song. Palms are sweaty. Come on, man. Great chart fit. You already know. Everybody's birthday party, you're going to hear this song. Go Shorty. 50 Cent in the Club, 2003. 21 questions. You know, you still gonna stay with me? Girl, you still have love for me. Rest in peace, Nate Dogg. You know what I mean? Nelly P. Diddy, Murphy, Shake Your Tail Feather, 2003. I didn't even know that song was hot like that, but I guess it worked. You know, going back to the derriere. We like the derriere bouncing. Ludacris, Stand Up with Shauna. All right, 2003. Sleepy Brown, The Way You Move, another great song. Outclass, The South has got something to say. Oh, I had to say the Midwest. Don't forget, Nelly was the Midwest. You know what I'm saying? Also, Detroit in the house. Can't forget Detroit's in the house with, since I'm talking about regions. Can't forget Detroit's in the house. And Twister, Midwest, Kanye, Jamie Foxx, Slow Jams. I mean, slow motion for me.
Facts.
Slow motion for me. Juvenile. New Orleans, Terror Squad, Lean Back, 2004. These are all number one rap records on the Hot Billboard 100, not the rap charts. The charts that are all the genres, the best of all genres on the charts. You know what I mean? Pharrell, Drop It Like It's Hot. Snoop Dogg, Drop It Like It's Hot, produced by the Neptunes. Candy Shop, 2005. You see where we going? Gold Digger, she give me money. Jamie Foxx. The Laffy Taffy, I forgot. Give me the Laffy Taffy. Oh, man, I forgot about some of these. We might have to go back and play some of these, man. We might have to make this a playlist. Y'all let me know. You know what I mean? Chameleon Air, there's Gold Digger, she give me money. Jamie Foxx. The Laffy Taffy, I forgot. Give me the Laffy Taffy. Oh, man, I forgot about some of these. We might have to go back and play some of these, man. We might have to make this a playlist. Y'all let me know. You know what I mean? Chameleon Air, they see me rolling, they hating. My London British. Fergie, you know what I'm saying? Coming from Black Eyed Peas, you know what I'm saying? Money Maker, Ludacris, Pharrell. You see where I'm going? This is why I'm hot. Now, Mims, this is like, wow. He was known for this. I heard everybody made more money off of this record than him. You know what I mean? But I guess you could call this one hit wonder. But remember this record, This Is Why I'm Hot. You know, Give It To Me. You know, Soulja Boy, tell him. Soulja Boy was the first to tell him. You know what I'm saying? Crank that. All right. Stronger. Kanye West, 2007. Flow Rider, 2008. Low, 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 low. La, 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 Lil Wayne. La, 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 la. Whatever you like. Hey. Live Your Life. Come on, T.I. was killing it. 2008, smacking you two hits in the year, man. The King of the South. Grand Hustle, baby. You know what I mean? Eminem, Dr. Dre, Crack the Bottle. You know what I'm saying? Flow Rider. Right Round. Right Round. I don't remember that one too much. Y'all might remember that. Okay, Boom Boom Pow. Black Eyed Peas. Jay-Z. AK. Shout out to the fam. New York. Okay, you know. Black Eyed Peas. I'ma be. You know what I'm saying? They gonna be. Bruno Mars. Nothing on you, babe. Excuse me, B.O.B. with Bruno Mars. Nothing on you, baby. I'm Not Afraid. Eminem was never afraid when he was on them charts. Rihanna, Love the Way You Lie, 2010. Far East Movement, like a G6. I guess you could consider that a rap song. I guess, who am I? Who am I to deny them? Black and Yellow, Wiz Khalifa, 2011. You know what I mean? Give me everything. I remember that one. Sexy and I know it. Every day I'm shuffling. Flow Rider, we're getting real happy. Everybody's getting happy around these years. You know what I mean? Macklemore, Thrift Shop, we taking it to the suburbs. Macklemore, Ryan Lewis, you know what I mean? Can't hold us, Eminem, Monster, Eminem, they love. Middle America love Eminem. Pitbull, killing it. Miami. Iggy Azalea, you know what I mean? The Australian white girl that sounds like a black girl from the South. Charlie X. All right, come on. Wiz Khalifa, Charlie Proof, See You Again, Fast and Furious soundtrack, rest in peace. You know what I mean? Ray Schmurner, Gucci Man, Black Beatles. Everybody was doing the freeze challenge. You know what I'm saying? Miko's Bad and Bougie. 2017. Hey, you couldn't go nowhere. With the Uzi. Humble, Sit Down, Kendrick. You know what I mean? Bodak Yellow. I mean, come on, man. Who didn't hear that song? You know what I mean? Post Malone, Rockstar, 21, 21. You know what I mean? God's Plan, great year. That was Drake's year all day. You know what I mean? Some people was hating on that album. That Scorpion album was good to me. Nice for What?
Facts.
Sampling Lauren. You know what I'm saying? This is America. Don't catch him slipping now. Sad, very sad. You know what I mean? We lost a young one. You know what I mean? Cardi B, Bunny. I like it like that. Take a hit, make another hit. You know what I'm saying? And I guess it's stopping at that, but y'all get the point of it. Excuse me. No doubt, no doubt. Now it's thirsty as hell. Thirsty as hell. How's it sound to y'all? Sound like it's flanging to me, but I'm pretty sure it's just me. Is it just me? So I did that the same day I did the other video, 50 years in hip hop, no number one hit or no number one album on the hot Billboard 100, which I said was not the rap chart. This is the general any genre can make it chart. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I said, for the first time, it's not making the chart. Is that a good thing? Or should I say, is that a bad thing? What up, Reese? Or is that a good thing? You know what I mean? Scott, I just went through the list, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube, please do. I'll put the link for that video in the chat. And actually, I want to play the other video now. Yeah, I want to play the other video now to keep it in context. Then, as I said, man, I'm just hanging out. It's just chatting. You know what I mean? Whatever y'all want to discuss. The day is going to go by what the chat does. So the more feedback I got from y'all, will dictate how this stream is going to go. This pop up. Feel like hip hop is on the commercial decline. All right, so yeah, let me play this video for you, and we'll talk about it. What's good, world? So in today's video, I want to discuss hip hop. It's 2023, and hip hop is celebrating its 50th anniversary. And ironically, this is the first year hip hop has not had a number one on the Billboard charts, 200 or 100 chart. So let's talk about it. So first, before we get into that, we got to take it back. So hip hop started in August of 1973, New York City, the Bronx, of course, credited to Kool Herc's parties. And it even took years before it became put on vinyl, because you had hip hop jams, hip hop freestyles, all in cassette tapes at first, mixtapes, if you will. They were just cassette tapes floating around. There was no hip hop on record at that time, and there was no real interest of being on a record. It took about 5 years, and then the first record showed up with Fatback Band, arguably the first one, but the one that everyone knows is Rapper's Delight. And Rapper's Delight did chart on the Billboard. Now remember,
What up,
people thought this was a novelty thing. People thought it was a fad. People thought it would go away. So as you can see, it was a 1979 single, became a top 40 hit, reaching number 36 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 4 on the R&B hip hop charts, which didn't exist at that time. I don't even know why they put it on there. There was no hip hop part of it. Definitely an R&B chart, but it wasn't R&B hip hop back then. And it reached number 32 on the R&B albums. So then years went by, and we didn't have our first hip hop album breaking the top 10 on Billboard until 1986 with Run DMC's Raising Hell album. And it became the first certified platinum rap album as well. Then about a year later, you had the Beastie Boys' License to Ill, the first rap album to hit number one on the Billboard Top 200, March 7, 1987. So Beastie Boys was the first to crack number one in albums. Now, mind you, even when it came to the singles of those days, you know, hip-hop purists didn't really consider Rapper's Delight or Run DMC's music mixed with rock, Beastie Boys. They didn't really consider this the pure form. You know, it was considered too commercial. So let's just take in hand of the climate at the time when people wanted the more pure form and the real hip-hop heads wanted the more organic sound to make the charts. But the stuff that makes the charts are not usually the purest form of any art form, whether it's rock, jazz, country, etc. It's easy listening version of the genre, so to speak, that makes it easier. Now, there's always exceptions, and we have fluctuations in time of when the real came through. I'm saying that because we're talking about Billboard. You know, Billboard charts is an achievement because it goes to show you what is the most played, what is the most selling in the country. And when it comes to that, it doesn't mean it's the best. Doesn't mean it's the most quality. Doesn't mean it's the truest. It just means it was marketed the best. It was catchy. It was such and such. It's just like anything else. Coca-Cola is a number one selling soda. Is it the best soda in the world? You be the judge. So it's interesting that now we don't have a number one in 2023, and now we're in June. Half the year is gone, and it's the 50-year anniversary of hip-hop. What's going on? Are we getting more pure? Are we getting less commercial? Or are people just bored with it? Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Hip-hop has been number one in since for a while, since 87. You had a lot of real albums. What happened? Also, I'm going to go through the albums in another video another time. So I didn't want to, it's going to take too long because I went through like almost 50 albums just talking to the screen, and I want to put like the album covers and shit and whatever. So that'll be another time. That'll probably be my next video, but yeah. Let's see what the Billboard article says. What happened? All right, so according to Billboard, it says 5 reasons why. Who wrote this? Kyle Dennis. I don't even know who Kyle Dennis is. We could look it up later. 5 reasons why 2023 has yet to yield a number one hip-hop album or single. A not-so-starry night. It's a lot more difficult for any genre to reach the top spot when the most popular and reliable artists are not releasing projects. This year, hip-hop releases have come from artists with less consistent track records on the Billboard 200. Instead of the guaranteed album sellers like Kendrick and J. Cole, 2023 has seen records from artists like Lil Durk, Moneybagg Yo, and Young Boy Never Broke Again, or artists who have previously scored number one albums yet still lack the gravity of a crossover hip-hop star. While the likes of Megan Thee Stallion, Lil Baby, 21 Savage, and Lil Durk could all rule the genre of the 2020s, lengthy gaps between solo albums, capricious commercial pull, and inconsistent when it comes to a genuine blockbuster records prevent them from being as surefire bets. His opinion, part of this is due to the ever-increasing vastness of social media. Artists and fans now can have unpredicted relationships where their intimacy anchors the fans' steadfast dedication. But the fan bases that devoted rappers can still pull astonishing numbers without necessarily having major impact on larger mainstream. I don't know how that's possible. The numbers are supposed to bring it to the mainstream, but okay. Number two, views from the top. It is well known that hip hop has reigned as the biggest commercial genre in the United States since 2018. Current tallies for this year's show, and the genre remains the country's biggest music. In fact, R&B hip hop is up 6.3 in overall units this year compared to 2022. Nevertheless, it is slowly losing dominance in terms of market share. It looks like hip hop is slipping a little, given the increase of overall consumption units. However, I can feel you. I can feel where you're coming from. I can feel where you're coming from. But that was the question. Like you saw all what was number ones before. Were they quality songs? So this is they talk on. So the first number one for this writer was there's not enough stars, and the stars are not consistent enough. That's number one. Number two is what he's touching on now. Well, he's saying there's not enough stars, and social media is making stars too accessible, which kind of helps build like a core fanatic fan base, but it doesn't necessarily impact the mainstream. And just as much as you gain your fans through social media, they're more fickle. And if they're more fickle, they're quicker to turn on you if you post something or say something they don't like. You know what I mean? So that was an interesting question I had the other time about social media because you got everybody pushing this like, oh, you gotta make content, you gotta make content, you gotta be on social, you gotta talk to your fans. But then you have somebody like Will Smith who started social media kind of late. And at first, it was just like, oh my God, yeah, this is the best. He's the best on IG. And then we started seeing a little too much. And then the whole entanglement. And then his wife got a YouTube channel and this and that. And did it help him or hurt him if he was on social media or not? You know what I mean? Sometimes, I don't know. I think when you're established, the mystery and mysterious approach still works. Jay Z don't even have social media. Beyonce does, but Beyonce don't talk about shit. All she do is put pictures of her products, her clothing, her concerts. You don't see Beyonce going live on Instagram or TikTok. So it's interesting. So it kind of works for the artist in the beginning, like a Cardi B, like a Intex Tacion, Kodak Black, young boy NBA. You know what I mean? So that's the first thing. Stars. Like what makes a star and can you become a star by being so accessible or being so consistent? That's the question. Because it's easier to backfire. And then another thing is saying hip hop has been on top for so long, it's inevitable with other genres coming. So that's kind of like point number two of views from the top. It's music. In fact, R&B hip hop is up 6.3 in overall units this year compared to 2022. Nevertheless, it is. I just want to read your comment real quick. I feel like A&R is missing from a lot of artists, and what's the reason why there's no mystique and why a lot of artists are not lasting more than 1 2 years. Yeah, there's definitely not much development. Chris Acosta, what's good? There's definitely hardly no development, and A&Rs and labels are looking for artists with audiences already. So it's a catch 22. Like they're not looking for you to have a hot demo and feel like they can work with you and develop you and get you with the top producers and top writers. Like they don't care about that. That's too much work. So that's the problem. It's like you might have an audience, but you don't have any grooming. You don't have any idea exactly. You're just engaging and reacting to situations, and you might have built the audience on one type of energy, and it might not even forget. It might not even be consistent with what your brand is or who you are. You know what I mean? So it's tough. But yeah, when you build your shit off of showing everything, then you got to continue to show everything. And then human nature, we get bored. We get bored. It's like, oh yeah, I know everything about this person, you know. And then if your music does that too, and we already know what you're gonna sing and rap, it's just like now it's just do I like the beat or not? You know what I'm saying? It's tough. It's tough. This is why I was at the ASCAP event the other night, and all I kept asking different execs and stuff, publishers and stuff, do they think the age of the superstar is done, or can there be a superstar music artist in today's climate with 100,000 records being uploaded to the DSP a day, not a week. It used to be a week, not a month, not a year, a day. Like who's really feeling like they not getting enough music? So it just makes it more like, mm, now you got to come into skills and fresh ideas and whatever. Because even the gimmicks, you might get away with the gimmick, but as you said, Alan, the gimmick might work for 1 year, if that. So the saga continues. Slowly losing dominance in terms of market share. It looks like hip hop is slipping a little. Given an increase of overall consumption units, however, this is really a case of hip hop having less room to grow in comparison to other genres because it's already been so dominant for such an extended period. With the exploding popularity of Afro beats, regional Mexican, yeah, I've been liking a lot of that, and K-pop all factored in, it is simply getting more difficult for hip hop to remain unchallenged at the center of the conversation. Audience have more options and access than ever before, and they naturally exploring genres they might have previously paid less attention to. Oh, I just want to say this real quick. If you're watching me on YouTube, please hit that like button. Help me with the algorithms. If you're on YouTube, please hit that like button. Over the past years, I can agree with that a little bit. There's more interesting genres, and a lot of this hip hop is getting a little more predictable and less exciting, even with all these collabs. It's almost like, in my opinion, a lot of these hip hop acts in the last 4, 5, maybe 10 years, they relied on their collabs. I haven't seen too many rap artists make great work by themselves with a feature here or there. You know what I mean? Ain't too many J. Cole went platinum without any major features going on. You know what I mean? There's no problem with that, but if your career relies on that and it becomes like an obvious thing of y'all collaborating for the audience and numbers, it's kind of boring, predictable, and contrived. I made a post about that before about collaborations need to make sense. You know what I mean? Afro beats is a fresh industry that's been battling since the late '90s, I believe. I saw a documentary on Afro beats, and just knowing how they used to call it Afro hip hop at one time, how they took on the spirit of hip hop, the whole factor of pushing the genre forward with their collaborations. You know what I mean? And same thing with Mexican music, Latin music. There's a lot of excitement going on there, which for another generation is refreshing. I can see that. So number 3 for him. Oh, So you feel like back in the days, it was easier to discover new artists nowadays. You can discover new artists on social media. However, not everyone on social media, which makes can not everyone is on social media, which makes difficult to go expand your audience. Yeah. Well, you had less to choose from back in the days, and it was harder to be discovered back in the days, in my opinion, Allie. Cause like you really had to be popping in your hometown, and you had to get through to the blogs, and then you had to get through the magazines, because you didn't have social media, so you needed the magazine, you needed the mix shows, you needed the DJs mixtapes, you needed the blogs. Now you don't need the blogs. You can use social media. So I don't think it's harder to be discovered on social media because everyone is on social media, but everyone is not looking for new music on social media. A lot of people just looking to be entertained, but not by music per se. They like the drama, they like the IG models, they like the political shit that pisses them off. They like the conspiracy shit. They like, you know what I mean? They're not really going there. They're not really going there looking for the next song. You know what I mean? It's like, cause even now, it's like I don't know if it's true, but like for example, I'm a big fan of Nas, always been. In the last 2 years, he put out like 4 albums. I didn't listen to all them albums. I listened to one, maybe two, one and a half. It's just so much music out. I can't even get around to listen to the people I really want to listen to. You know what I'm saying? And when it drops, I don't really know because of the algorithms. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I go to his page, oh, I see he released, or I go to Hit Boy's page, I see he released, but for some reason, it didn't come up in my feed. There was no, you know what I mean? There's no more, because what we used to have too is different. Like I said, the media outlets, right? When someone drop, you will watch BET and your favorite shows on BET or your favorite shows on MTV, and you had MTV News, so you knew about the major records that were coming out, right? Or you would listen to your favorite um, hip hop show on the radio late night. You had your commercial shit all day, but then you had your certain DJs you would listen to, like your Funk Flex or your Khaled in Florida or you know the Baker Boys out. You know what I mean? Like you had your favorite DJs mix shows that you would listen to, and they would tell you what would come out. So everyone's not listening to the radio like that anymore, but everyone is on social media. But they're not on social media for music. I think I think still to this day I can check it out. The place where people most discover new music is still YouTube. You know what I mean? It's still YouTube from what I know. I could, it might have changed since that fact. I doubt it. And TikTok is probably number 2. TikTok is probably number 2. You know what I mean? From all the short clips and the dances, I think TikTok is probably number 2. But I think YouTube is number 1. You know what I mean? Going on there, which for another generation is refreshing. I can see that. So number 3 for him. Old ops and new ops. Part of the reason hip hop has struggled to truly cement a new class of superstars that some of the genre's most promising talents have fallen victim to gun violence, incarceration, drug abuse, and excessive It's an interesting surveillance. Fact. Okay, I can see that factor. Tentacion, Juice World, Pop Smoke, Drakeo the Ruler, King Von, Nipsey Hussle, Young Dolph, now Takeoff. I mean, yeah, I can see that. Like, there is a lot of, even rappers that have a buzz, you don't even know they rap until they got killed or went to jail or something. So, yeah, there's a lot of potential stars being nipped in the bud. Court cases, Megan Thee Stallion, Tory Lanez, Lil TJ suffered gunshot wounds. Yeah, Bronx, New York, and the city with most robust hip hop police units in the country. That's crazy. Launched in 2019, task force aggressively stalks and monitors hip hop shows. Yeah, the mayor definitely claimed the ban of drill rap in New York City. Young drill artists, K Flock, Chef G, D Chains, Busy Banks, all currently incarcerated. There are also law enforcement obsession with criminalizing hip hop lyrics. Atlanta rapper Young Thug battles a slew of RICO charges. No other American genre sits at its particular intersection of racialized persecution, gun violence, drug abuse, and surveillance. Good point. I agree with that point. Chart stagnation. To cut the hip hop bit of slack, the genre's absence at the charts this year is also due to part to how relatively stagnant the charts have been, with just 5 titles recently the top spot in Billboard 200. Only 5 new songs hitting the Summer of Hot 100. It's not like there was much room for hip hop to nudge its way in. Outside of 1 week runs at number one from The Weeknd and Ariana Grande, Die With You, Jimmy Like Crazy, and SZA Kill Bill, Lifty stays at number one, and Mighty Flowers and Morgan Whalen, or while I don't know how to say his name. Last night, 9 weeks. I know that song though. Have kept the top 100 away for basically everyone else. They snatched the spots. Although a rap song has yet to hit number one this year, the genre has not been completely absent from the top 100's top 10. New tracks from Tusi, favorite song, Drake, Search and Rescue, Lil Durk and J. Cole, All My Life. I think that might reach number one. That All My Life, I think that might reach number one. Ice Spice and Nicki Minaj, Princess Diana have all reached top 5, and it's worth noting, however, that outside of favorite song, each of these songs debuted in that region and slipped out of it shortly after. Number 5, a gradual return. I agree. That's been like that for a while too. It's like they want to see you do more with less. It just helps them more with less. All right, so that was his other thing. He was like, um, it can't compete with the Scissor, the return of Miley Cyrus, the top country artists. Like that's his opinion. Like hip hop can't really compete with that right now. There's no room. Like these songs been charting for a minute. Scissor, as I said, they've been dominating the charts for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. But there is some in the top five. To get to number one is kind of hard. That's what he's saying. And yeah, I think the J Cole, Lil Durk might make number one personally. Um, and the year's not over, but it's just crazy how we 6 months in and there's no number one. And somebody on my IG was like, "Oh shit, where's Drake at?" Drake got to join out the Seek and Rescue. It ain't going number one. So even Drake couldn't save y'all, as he said. But he might. It might go number one. I doubt if that one goes number one. It's too sad for this. It's too emo and sad for the summer. You know what I mean? So maybe in the fall that would have worked. Cuddle season that might have worked or something. But right now, nah, doesn't seem like it's gonna work. But I think this one will work definitely. The Lil Durk and J Cole, All My Life, and Nicki Minaj, Princess Diana have all reached top 5, and it's worth noting, however, that outside of favorite song, each of these songs debuted in that region and slipped out of it shortly after. Number 5, a gradual return to the club scene. If any
Facts,
genre is
Alan.
well equipped to adapt to change, it is hip hop. The genre already seems to be
you
aligning
too.
itself with the next pivot since the beginning of 2020. Top 40 has revived a love affair with the new disco, synth pop, and all the other pulsating subgenres and veins from Dua Lipa, future nostalgic to Beyonce, aligning itself with the next pivot since the beginning of 2020. Number 5, a gradual return to the club scene. If any genre is well equipped to adapt to change, it is hip hop. The genre already seems to be aligning itself with the next pivot since the beginning of 2020. Top 40 has revived a love affair with the new disco, synth pop, and all the other pulsating subgenres and veins from Dua Lipa, future nostalgic to Beyonce's Renaissance to Drake's Honestly Nevermind. This opinion right here, him talking about the club scene and hip hop having to adjust to it. As I said in another video, if you want to check that video out, it's on my YouTube. I went through all the hot 100s. None of them was what I'm about to speak of right now. We went through our era of hip house. There was so many rap records that had house beats, you know, Jungle Brothers, Girl Out House Shoe, um, Chill Rob, G, like I can't even remember, but there was so many CC Music. Well, that was more club. We had hip hop house, then we had hip hop club. We had that one, CC Music Factory or whatever. You know, I think even Marky Mark had one of them dance beats too. We even had hip hop techno. You know what I mean? Yes, coming to my house, give me body. Like, so we already went through that. And get what happened? It came and went. House music is still alive. Club music is still alive. But no hip hop house, no hip like. So I don't really agree with him on this point, saying that hip hop needs to go back to incorporating. You know what I'm saying? So folk rap, maybe if it's done right. But you know, with rap, you need a beat. You know, or ill bass line. Cause you got Griselda, that whole Griselda crew. There's no drums on that, but you got them bass lines and them chords. You know what I mean? And just straight cadence flow and street drug rhymes on it. Maybe that's hip hop's version of folk. You know what I mean? Drug rap with no drums. All right, so let's get back to this. Let me see. But yeah, as I said, I don't really agree with this part. I don't want to hear a whole bunch of Jersey beat raps, be honest with you. Dua Lipa, future nostalgic to Beyonce's Renaissance to Drake's Honestly Nevermind. Yep, club and dancing house. Little Easy Verts, I Just Want to Rock. Cola Ray's Players, both hot 100 top 10s, both pulled from Jersey Club. And thumping division of dance music heavily inspired by Baltimore club scene, innovative fusion of house and hip hop. Traces of the style can be found in such 2023 hits as Ice Spice, In the Mood, and Pink Panther's The Boy's a Liar. And not entirely there yet, but if hip hop can continue to innovate across dance centric genres that are growing more and more popular around the world, they may be a key remaining present on top of the Billboard charts. Whether it's Baltimore Club or I'm a Piano, continued forays into dance can be a viable pathway for America's biggest genre. Okay? So what do y'all think? Yeah, like I said, we went through the whole history. I don't know about that part. But yeah, so that's his reason. That's his reason. See, but at the same time, Scotty, we need something different. If you do the banjo right, I mean, come on. There we go. There we go, Alan. But that's what I'm talking about. It's like you see what y'all saying? You see what y'all saying? That's what's missing. That's what's missing. Like, let's try some shit that never been done before. But you have to do it with that hip hop spirit. Because to me, hip hop is a mixture of all genres. There's no like, you sample a banjo, you could sample a rubber band, you could sample harmonica, you could sample a flute, you could sample Indian, Egyptian, country, blues, gospel. You know what I mean? House. Like, you just got to do it with that hip hop energy. And hip hop has a certain, like a better word, swagger. That's all it is. Is hip hop is not what, it's how. How you doing it. You know what I'm saying? So if you come up with a way to bring it in an original form and you got a new artist that's the voice of that sound, it's going to work and you're going to get copycats. You know what I'm saying? That's how it works. That's how it works. So that was about that. So that was about the chart. So I follow this producer and big YouTuber. I actually got to holler at him again. And I like the stuff he posts. I haven't watched this yet, but I want to watch this in the meanwhile. He got a video on how Spotify playlists are influencing bad music. So now we're gonna pivot a little bit. We're gonna get off the chart stuff, and now we're gonna go to playlists. And maybe I'll do a video on playlist stuff too later. Y'all let me know if y'all want to see me do a video on playlists. And again, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube, please do. And if you're on YouTube, please hit that like for the algorithm so maybe a few more people might see the video. All right, but let's do this. This is Curtis King's video, how Spotify playlists are influencing
one thing YouTube
bad music. Bad music.
is going to always do, they're going to suggest.
Okay, hold on. Here we go.
A video a million times. One of those videos that got suggested to me was a video from a popular YouTuber named Venus Theory. In this video, he's talking about something that he has called the playlistification of music. This is partly the reason why music is sounding so much alike.
Hey, you know what? Let me do his video. Who he said? Let's do that video. Let's start with this guy first. I watch his videos too. His videos is pretty dope. Venus Theory. Let's check him out. All right, cool. Let's do it. Let's do his video. The playlistification of music. Uh-oh.
Howdy doody, buckaroonies. My wife and I have been together for just
Holy
over
shit.
10 years now.
He said, howdy doody buckaroony. Holy shit. What are we getting into? All right, hold on a second. Howdy doody buckaroony. All right, let's go.
And every time we go to the store or something and get in the car, as part of her passenger princess duties, she puts on a Spotify playlist of whatever new music she's found lately. And over the last couple of years, I can't help but feel like a lot of it has started to just sound very same-y. I don't think I'm alone in noticing this. Especially with the rise of things like TikTok and Spotify playlists, popular music seems to have just become a lot more homogenous and predictable and reliant on these weird gimmicks, with some of it sounding like something I would sing with my infant niece, with really basic rhymes, these weirdly inserted countdowns, and these seemingly sort of paint-by-numbers melodic structures. But looking beyond that, I think there's really a problem with the crushing ubiquity of cheap music made as content. And that's what I want to talk about in this video. Today's video was made possible by my patrons. My patrons not only get exclusive access to things like courses on music production and sound design, along with presets, sample packs, and other goodies.
Yep, I need to do that too.
Economics of streaming. In 2022, it was reported that 83.5% streaming. But there have I just get science. Has modern music question of the day here is really one of science. Has modern music definitively gotten worse, or am I just getting old? Granted, I'm 29, so I think I'm officially old and crusty now. But there have been some significant changes in modern music, largely thanks to, I think, the economics of streaming. In 2022, it was reported that 83.5% of all music revenue in the US came from streaming. Over the last decade, it's pretty clear to see that streaming, everything in green here, is the golden goose for income in the form of music as consumable media. As we all know, streaming services pay rights holders for each play. But the problem starts to emerge when it's noted that all streams are more or less treated equally. If I'm streaming a 14-minute epic that some artist I love spent years developing and recording, it pays more or less just as much as streaming that viral 2-minute meme banger that some kid made by smashing trash cans in their garage. This means that there's now a sort of financial incentive to produce more music.
See, that's the thing you was touching on, Alan. 2-minute joints.
That's shorter. In the last decade, this has become particularly pronounced, with the average song on the Billboard Hot 100 falling from 3 minutes and 50 seconds in 2013 down to 3 minutes and 30 seconds by 2018. This same trend can be observed perhaps more notably by looking at some releases from popular artists over the last couple years. Now, it's easy to point the finger here at something like TikTok and say short-form content made us all stupid and gave us the attention span of a goldfish, but that's really not the case because it's hard to pinpoint an exact cause for the shortening of popular music. This has really been a trend ever since the dawn of radio. So,
that's facts. Like, there's a lot of money, but it's for the master owners, the labels, the major labels, especially when they have the lion's share of artists and music that's being pushed. The artist doesn't get a big share, and especially the songwriters don't get a big share.
Really been a trend ever since the dawn of radio. So ultimately, I think this is best explained by consumer demand. People just want songs that are short and catchy. Short music isn't really the problem though. There's plenty of music that I enjoy that's on the shorter side, because not every song needs to be 10.5 minutes to get the fucking point across. The problem is this short music that seems to be so omnipresent and monotonous. And I think this is what we've really seen with the rise of TikTok and Spotify and streaming in general, because it's created this hole in music and shifted it from art to content. And I think this is the point where we really get to dive into what I see as the root of the problem here: the playlistification of music.
This guy got some great graphics, man. I need his plugins.
If you've ever created a song and wanted to release it as an independent artist and get featured on playlists and different streaming services, you've likely used some kind of service like SubmitHub. Using these services, we can upload our song, pay for some credits to pitch to various curators, and then find a list of curators that would be most likely to promote the song based on their general preferences. However, if we take a deeper look, these are often very, very specific.
Hold on, I need to hear this again. Somebody told me about this, but I never got into it.
Pitch to various curators, and then find a list and get featured on playlists and different streaming services, you've likely used some kind of service like SubmitHub. Using these services, we can upload our song, pay for some credits to pitch to various curators, and then find a list of curators that would be most likely to promote the song based on their general preferences. However, if we take a deeper look, these are often very, very specific. As anyone who's submitted something on Submit Hub can tell you, you get denied for the most obscure and hilariously specific reasons. Because of the nature and function of curated playlists in the streaming economy and the algorithms of platforms like Spotify or TikTok, artists are faced with an incentive to create music that fits into these very specific parameters like song length, structure, melodic content, mood, tempo, and instrumentation in order to get their tracks accepted and placed into the playlists or parts of the algorithm that garner the most attention. This, I think, is what fundamentally leads to the homogenization of music as an art form, because diversity and creative experimentation really aren't encouraged. Instead, it's almost incentivized for artists to create things that sound more or less the same, that can be easily categorized and sorted onto the right playlist to provide the end listener with the most satisfying listening experience.
And that, to me, is the death of a music or death of a genre. Because you might as well be AI if you're trying to do that. Do I think they need to switch it up? That's hard to say, because I think right now the to qualify to be counted as a stream or as a as a sale. Let me see. I'm just looking it up because I don't know if it changed. Oh no, it's still. It says the RIAA counts sales and streams with the same ratio standards. 150 streams equal one single sale. Nah, it's not them that count. It's Scotty. It's not Apple. It's the RIAA. Those are the people who give you the plaques, the recording, something, whatever the hell. So it says they have their own standards of counting streams, unlike calculators posted on the count. RI count sales and streams with the same ratio standards. 150 streams equal a single sale. So that means if a person played your shit 150 times, that equals your single being bought. Which before, like back in the days, a single used to be $2.99, then it went up to $3.99. Some places $5.99 for one song. You might got the B side, an A or B side, because it was a cassette or vinyl. And a CD, you might have like a bonus. And then Apple came out with downloading singles after Napster changed everything, and it was 99 cents for your single. So it's almost like saying 150. If someone plays your song 150 times, it's worth $1. Kind of basically what it's saying. So when someone goes platinum or whatever, or gold, you just got to take that and multiply that 150 times in streams. Do I think they need to change that? I don't know. I don't even know why they came up with that number. Like, if I buy a single, do I play it 150 times? Maybe over a few months, if it was real good. If I was a DJ, for sure. For sure, I'm playing that. If I was a DJ, I probably would have bought two until Serato came out. You just need one. Or the downloads came out. So, yeah, it could change. But I don't know how to gauge that. I don't know what the real serious habit, like when my 10-and-a-half-year-old daughter has a favorite song, does she play it 150 times? Yeah. I do believe that. So, I don't know. And Then the whole point of it too, Alan and Scotty, then you got those streaming farms. So if you lower it, then they're going to have to pay more money because you got streaming farms that's definitely going to make sure it gets streamed more than 150 times. Like if they raise the money, it just gives more incentives for people to cheat. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. But I think the portion of who they pay and what they pay needs to change. But as far as like what qualifies for platinum and certain, I don't know. I haven't thought that hard on that. Let's see, what's this guy talking about? Where do we leave off? Are y'all enjoying this video? Or y'all enjoying this video, or should I move to Curtis King? Y'all let me know. What do you think? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The streaming farms. I think I did see that video. I don't know the whole details. Oh, I could play this. I could play this thing after. Oh, I know what to play after this. Do y'all want me to continue on with this video, or should I go to Curtis King? I haven't seen this video with this guy. Let's see. I haven't seen this video. What's good? If you're on YouTube, please hit that like. I say I have a yes, I have a next video. All right, I'm gonna play a little more of this one and then we move on. It's a split decision. And if you're on YouTube, please hit that like button for the live. Help me out with the algorithm. I don't know much longer I'm gonna stream. This is Saturday pop-up. I haven't streamed on a Saturday in a minute.
Problem that exists with music. In the room here is really just the simple supply and demand problem that exists with music. Because making music is cheaper and more accessible than ever, there's a lot more music out there than there are people who want to listen to all that music that's being made. So consumers are often likely to choose a streaming service or something like that that has an algorithm to assist them in their listening experience to find music that they might enjoy. The problem though with this training wheels consumer-assisted approach to music discovery is sort of twofold. On one side, this means that the algorithm will often serve up more and more specific music that's more and more identical as the consumer's tastes become better known to the algorithm, leading to a sort of consumer burnout and dissatisfaction because everything ends up feeling and sounding the same. On the other side, consumers aren't necessarily encouraged or even directed to explore the lesser-known parts of these incomprehensibly large music catalogs, leaving fresh and more niche or lesser-known artists languishing in obscurity. The problem facing the artists creating the supply is also pretty similar. If you want to release your music and have it succeed, the best way to do that is to create stuff that's easily boiled down and digestible so it can be placed on the right playlist or featured in the right parts of the algorithm to provide the end user with the best and most satisfying listening experience. So that means creating stuff that's pretty samey, but just different enough to warrant being featured there. As well, because consumers aren't being encouraged to necessarily explore the backwaters, it becomes a real risk as an artist to create something more experimental, as it might not be able to be nailed down enough to find any sort of realistic traction. On most streaming services, a play really counts as the first 30 seconds of a song being played continuously. So what's an artist to do? Generally speaking, we probably want to get to the goddamn point as quickly as possible and put the hook or the chorus right up front to be nice and catchy so that we can give the listener a reason to continue listening. Because a skip costs nothing and there's essentially infinite music to be explored, there's been exponentially more importance placed on this initial hook, and I think this is a large part of why so many popular songs start with this gross sort of "ooh, please make me go viral" edging tease of a chorus right off the bat. Combining this with the new modern viral attempt hit structure, a reliance on a level of melodic and harmonic predictability, the dialing down of instrumentation, delivery, vocal style, arrangement, and instrumentation, we land at the new world that so many music critics have tried to put a name to, with Spotify core, stream bait pop, Spotify lounge, and so on. This
I
sort
never
of
even heard of that
starry-eyed,
stuff.
hazy, mid-tempo,
That's funny.
understated pop approach
Dre
with
Show,
wispy
what's good?
vocals has become a staple of most algorithm-driven streaming and social media services. It's music that's designed to be inoffensive, consumable, disposable, and it's music that ultimately keeps the silent majority of listeners and consumers on the platform. This new sort of paradigm of the mass consumption of music as a product has led to this weird form of, I guess, what ultimately amounts to the endowment effect. We, as musicians and artists and the true artist archetype, become insanely frustrated when we see some gimmicky meme song blow up and go super viral, whereas we spent days or weeks or months or longer toiling away, pouring our hearts and souls into this music for it to flop and die alongside everything else on streaming services. And we feel that we're entitled to the attention that the other thing got because we simply worked harder and we're the true artist or whatever. And this leads to, I guess, on the consumer side, what I would refer to as the bar gig problem. Because my wife and I live in the Nashville area, I can't so much as take a dump at a truck stop without someone being on a corner stage with an acoustic guitar, just a strumming and a singing their heart out on all these bum me out songs that are super deep and meaningful to them, and then sprinkling in the odd original they wrote in between bouts of them begging people to follow them on Instagram. The thing is, it's not that this person is a bad musician. It's not that the songs they're singing are bad songs. It's not that their own original songs suck. It's not anything about that whatsoever. It's that I probably came to the bar to eat hot wings and drink my fucking beer and not listen to you wear your heart on your sleeve for an hour and a half straight. I would argue that despite being a sample size of one grumpy mustachioed motherfucker.
You see what I'm saying? What up, Dracer? Welcome, welcome. This is the pop-up. So earlier I was playing videos on the Billboard charts, and then we pivoted to playlists. And, you know, just talking about the state of music in general. So that's all this is about. So open floor discussion. So, you know, get in when you fit in. Whatever you feeling, you could definitely comment. And after this video, I want to play the video on Chad Focus, who pimped the system with bots. So I think that's interesting. Any of y'all heard of Chad Focus?
Here, this is really representative of the more mass consumption of music. Not everyone is here for deep lyrics or innovative.
Yeah. Some people just want to mindless shit.
I would argue that despite being a sample size of one grumpy mustachioed motherfucker here, this is really representative
Chad
of
Focus
the more
is a
mass
person.
consumption of music.
It's not a
Not
computer.
everyone is here for deep lyrics or innovative melodies or genre-bending artists. Not everyone is a musician with a more developed sense of musical appreciation and analysis and critique, and not everyone really gives that much of a shit.
True.
Most people just want to listen to some music. It's this kind of music, and I guess this sort of listening style, that ultimately leads to this endless...
I would tell people all the time, when you selling millions of records, you're not selling to millions of people who create music. The biggest consumers of music are not people who create music. Most of the time, people who create music don't even buy music, don't even bother to stream your music because they streaming their own. They're making their own. Or they'll play the stuff when they were younger that inspired them to make it. Or they'll just, like you said, to cover for a gig, stuff that's popular that they couldn't avoid hearing. But they ain't really going out there and buying your shit. Not the majority.
Small vibes to be heartbroken to playlists on streaming services that have become 7 layers of cliche and cringe. Artists are encouraged by labels and more indirectly by consumers to deliver more of the same, and any kind of experimentation could lead to the ultimate punishment: being put on Spotify with everybody else. This isn't meant to be an elitist tirade against popular music on streaming services. I think it's more than evident that this industry of Spotify-friendly music exists for a reason. It works, and that's what the consumers want. That being said, and music being an industry, there is a financial incentive to focus on streaming revenue specifically, and whatever brings in streams is what's likely to float to the top. It's in the music industry's best interest to create stuff that does well on streaming services.
Go viral
it's in
on
streaming
TikTok.
services' best interest to
gotta
find
go
the music
viral.
that does best with its audiences and keep them on those specific platforms. And it's in the audience's best interest to use a streaming service to sort this massive catalog of stuff into something that they're going to enjoy. And therein lies the sort of weird catch-22 of it all. Many of the articles and papers I read through when researching for this video suggested a similar sort of solution. Spotify and TikTok and all the other streaming services need to emphasize the idea of discovery in order to shift back to a more meaningful and innovative era of music. But I think most of the articles and papers maybe seem to miss the point of the idea here. They were close, but not really getting at the root of that sort of solution. Leaving it up to the consumer in terms of discovery, I don't think is really the best way forward, because I would argue most people are lazy and probably don't want to jump through a bunch of hoops to...
Facts. All right, so let me go to this guy now. So that was him and his theory on the problem with people trying to do music for playlists, which in essence
But they also want the money.
But in essence, it just took over from the place of people doing music specifically for radio. Which is why when you look at the hip hop charts, when you look at the Hot 100 charts, you only see most of the time certain type of hip hop songs that made number one, and it usually had a certain formula. It had certain formula for the era, though, by the way. Like, it always changed over the years, but it had a certain formula for the era. And so it's really no different. I guess it's just a bigger lure right now, since there's so much competition. Everyone wants to know what's the cheat code. Everyone wants to know how to go viral. Everyone, you know what I mean? Because, as he said, do you want to be the guy on the corner playing the guitar, singing your heart out? You know? Do you want to be the guy on TikTok DJing your ass off, or Twitch with 2 followers like me? Don't be that guy. You want an audience. You want them ad dollars. You want that, you know what I mean, where you can pay some bills. You can do your thing. You can invest in your company. You know what I'm saying? So it's tough. It's tough. You got to find a way to build an audience. But I'm not an advocate of copying the formulas that's weak. It's just figuring out a way how to stand out from all that sameness. I'm saying playlists had been changed it. I would say, yeah, it replaced it. Meaning it used to be about the radio because even the radio had playlists. Like when you listen to this station, the hot this or the power this or the kiss this or the jams this, it's not DJs and DJs playing the songs they really like. They have a list that they have to play. So that was the original playlist. And the difference between that playlist, they would play the same playlist every 15, 20 minutes in between commercials. You know what I mean? So now that people are kind of sick of commercials, they can go to Spotify and, well, Spotify got commercials if you don't pay, Apple or whoever. And like he said, there's so much music out. How do you know what to play? How do you know what to vibe? So if you see Rap Caviar or Billboard this or such and such this or somebody famous you know playlist, you're like, let me check this playlist out. And you just let it rock. Because it saves you the trouble of searching and trying to figure out how to have some good music playing continuously while you drive, while you clean, while you eat, while you dance, whatever you're doing. So it definitely put it in a different place. You know what I mean? But radio's still lucrative for an artist if your song gets picked. But it costs a lot to get your song on the radio. So it's like a catch-22. Like, costs a lot to get your shit on the radio. But once it's on the radio, that's a nice paycheck from ASCAP or BMI or whoever your performance rights organization is. You know what I'm saying? But I still think there's value in the DJ or the curators. Because as I said, you wanna hear stuff from somebody you respect. You know what I mean? Like if there's a DJ you like, you're gonna check out his playlist or you're gonna come to his party because you're gonna say, most likely, I'm gonna hear some shit I like and I'm gonna discover some shit I didn't know. You know? I mean, it's not direct pay. That's called payola. You know what I mean? It's called payola. Um, it gets put under promotional costs. But yeah, there's no any hit you hear on the radio wasn't free. There's no free hits. There's no free hits. Labels invest a lot in these singles and albums. So when I say it costs to be on the radio, that's what I mean. Like you can't just go up and catch the disc jockey leaving and be like, yo, check out my music. And he hears and be like, oh, I love this and play it. It don't work that way because they know the value in it. The problem is capitalism. They know the value in it. They know someone would pay or do favors for that spot. You know, you might get a chance with a late night mix and the DJ could throw it in, especially if the beat is similar. You know what I mean? If you have a relationship, whatever. But with these playlists, it's the same thing. It's like you heard what he said. There's services you could pay to pitch to different playlists. But as he said, these playlists have different criteria they want. And it has to be this, has to be that, has to be this. And now you're sitting here trying to create something to fit this mold. And if you're all about doing shit for money, that's no problem to you. But if you're a true artist and you just want to express yourself and do something unique, that's going to be a problem. You know what I mean? So if you going for the top brand playlist, it's kind of tough. But you might find some curators, some great curators that are more open. And, you know, that's one of the goals. Like, I want Crucial Noise Radio to be one of those places where I can shed light on artists and producers and DJs that I feel you might not have picked up on the algorithm or, you know, be the same homogenous sounding stuff. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, radio, not as much people listen to radio as 10 years ago. You know what I mean? Especially the younger generations, it's like we want it on demand. We want to hear what we want to hear now. We don't want to wait till it loops back around. We don't want to send in a request and never hear the request. You know what I'm saying? What up? Thank you. I see you. I would. I see you. All right, so I want to get into this. I got to give me something to drink more than water. I need some with flavor. So I'm going to play this one. I'm on Twitch and YouTube, by the way. So I'm about to dead this Instagram so I can run to the store. Yeah, so this one, how long is this? Yeah, I might have time to run to the store. So this one is about Chad Focus. He's a dude who manipulated Spotify bots to make 70 grand a month from streaming. Okay? He did Fed time and whatever for other reasons. I think his story was on Vice, but if you haven't heard of Chad Focus, this is who he is. He's a tech guy, but check out this interview and yeah, leave comments and all that good stuff. As I said, if you're on YouTube, please hit that like button. Hit the like button. Help the algorithm. And yeah. He exposed the music industry. They took everything from him. Chad Focus.
You understand what I'm saying? I'm from Baltimore. I was a multimillionaire. They took everything away from me. I went to prison. I never told on nobody. So as far as my credibility and my honor, I run with that. All right. I'm against the corporation. I'm against the system. The people that are against me, it's almost like Stockholm syndrome. They like, why would he do that? He's destroying the culture. Guys, all I did is came and took advantage of what they gave us as far as resources, and I do it independently.
What's going down? It is No Pain, No Gain. And we had a controversial episode last week. We spoke on Chad Focus. We spoke on streaming, quote unquote, scams related to streaming and Ticketmaster and just the music business in general. And it's interesting because I think Aaron and I got some heat for not being super critical of the man that we have right here, live and in the flesh, on today's episode. And for me, I'm just going to start off by saying this very briefly. I look at the music business, the stagnant royalty rates that haven't changed in decades, the lack of organic reach in these algorithms that basically bring us into the social media platforms with democratized reaches and then cut them off in exchange for jacked up CPRs and click-through rates. All these schemes that multi-million-dollar corporations and entities perpetrate against us every day. And I'm supposed to be mad at an individual for navigating these systems. I can't do it. So thank you, Chad, for being on here. Appreciate it. Good morning, Aaron, as well. Aaron's really the one that made this happen. You know, a lot of people were like, just jump in the DMs, and then my life exploded, and Aaron actually handled it. Thank you.
Oh, you know, Chad actually hit me after the episode went live. He said, I was trying to wait till it went live, and it went live. And I guess shout out to the No Pain, No Gain fans. Shout out to the previous MEC fans, because apparently they were blowing you up. So you hit me. I'm grateful.
Hey, listen, the internet's crazy, right? I was on the comments, and you know, I'm familiar. Like I said, I'm familiar with Payne and his movement. I think Payne, you did a show. I think it was with Kato, the producer, when I first had dealt with my situation. And
Way
what's
back.
dope for me is I've been kind of way back, man. I've been actually, you know, circling arounds now, Aaron, with everybody that kind of had a perspective but didn't get my narrative, right? So it's been dope for me to kind of have a chance to, you know, speak from my own perspective on what was going on. And then I seen where Aaron was coming from, and I was like, I got to find this young lady on social media. And then, of course, I went and did my homework, and they love you guys as far as, like, you know, on social media and what you guys bring to the culture. And it's dope for me because I just finished up with the Brandman Network, and me and Brandman Sean, he had a perspective about Chad Focus that I completely, you know, 180 after I came off of his platform. He just was mind blown. And it's dope for us, man, because this is going to go viral. His platform went viral, and I can't imagine, you know, this not happening again, guys. So it's a blessing to be here. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate what you guys do for the culture. You know, I got much respect and love for you guys here in Baltimore.
Yeah, and we appreciate you. And I'll tell you, I definitely fell into the category of the Brandman Sean, where I this was so many years ago, but
4 years ago today, actually.
Yeah, because when Kato and I and Dame, you know, part of the very first iteration of the MEC podcast spoke on what you were doing. You know, I'm reading these articles, and it's like Chad Focus steals $4 million and blows it on Times Square billboard ads. I'm like, you know, given that information, I'm like, that's what? Why would he do that? So that's how I spoke on it. Now, you know, at the time, I don't think you were at liberty to set the record straight. Yeah. So we're getting this other narrative. So I apologize for not using my power of discernment and my skepticism and just taking that stuff at face value. I shouldn't have done that. I feel like.
Appreciate it. Hey, look, man, like I said, we we are mature. We know what comes with the game, and we signed up for this, Pain. You know, anytime you take a chance to go ahead and be in the public light, it comes with uncontrollables like that. You feel what I'm saying? And the media does what it has to do. But like I tell everybody, man, all publicity, guys, is good publicity. It's about what you do with it. All right. And I done turned this thing around, guys, and it's only up from here.
Yeah, I think this is like a good teaching moment too, because skepticism is taught to us, but from the side of the oppressor. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we're taught to disbelieve things. And I think that all of us should be skeptical of what's originally like the first story that's put in front of us. But the first time I even heard about you was on the Brand Man Network, because I know Sean and Corey. Me and Corey have been cool for years. Corey has spoken on some of my panels and stuff. So when you were on there, I watched the episode and I was like, yeah, this is... You know what I'm saying? Because I love, like, right now, like we were talking about before we started recording, right now, my name is in so many people's mouths as a negative person. And I'm like, how? Like, if you just listen to me, there's a scripture that says the person who presents their story first seems the most right. And then understanding comes when the second half of the story is presented. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, of course, we think, oh, this and this and this, but it's like the moment that you hear the other side and then you speak with the type of conviction that I think that most people aren't expecting, and you're not wheeling and dealing. You know what I'm saying? You're like, you're coming with the truth, and it's evident to anybody who can hear what you're saying. It's like, I need to pay attention to what's going on. And then for us, especially in communities that are marginalized, it's like, they're always trying to screw us over. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, once you started talking and really explaining your story, which I know if you've never heard Chad Focus' story, y'all, we're about to get into it. But so if you could just give us a little bit of your background and then why we're here. I'm just fascinated in how you have not only turned lemons into lemonade, but opened up a whole lemon shop and a lemonade express company. You know what I'm saying?
Smoothies, we working. So look, man, born and raised, man, Baltimore guys, great family, to be honest with you, man. My mom's a nurse, 35 years, signed in a hospital. Father, entrepreneur, guys, in the construction world, mental health world, physical therapy world. I played ball, Aaron, growing up. You know, I thought I was going to be the next, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Michael Jordan. That was the plan. You might not be able to tell, but I'm 6'5", 250. So I thought it was a given. I'm like, look, man, I'm a point guard my way into a couple $1 million, take care of my family, have a good time. Growing up in Baltimore, as you guys already know, man, there's a lot of things that you could, get displaced in. The drugs, the crime, lack of opportunities, lack of visibility, and lack of resources. So my mom did a good job. One, man, like I said, emphasizing education. For me, as far as like my background, communications, guys, IT, technology, that's always been my world. You asked about how the music thing works, man. I was always a fan of your Michael Jacksons, guys, your Princes, Whitney Houstons, your Justin Timberlakes, Elton Johns. Like I'm a music enthusiast. I love it. And I started off playing piano, 10 years classically trained, Scott Joplin's, and I can do any and everything as far as like that music space. And that's what I want everybody to know. I love the game and I love actually the culture. That's where I came from. The way that I got into, as we see what this industry is, I started off in the marketing world. Graduated from college, guys, 2009, McDaniel College in Westminster. Prior to that, I went to Randallstown High School. That's in Baltimore County. So everything that I had been doing, building up, Aaron, was about technology and was about, what's going on in the culture and what's coming as far as social media. So I'm always trying to stay on the actual curve of what's popping, right? When MySpace came, I was one of the first people that had a MySpace account. When YouTube started to become what it was, I was there for the YouTube world. And when I got out of college, guys, I took a year off. I went down to North Carolina and stayed with some family members. And I taught myself what you guys see nowadays is called SEO, search engine optimization. I spent a lot of time on those forums, teaching myself, trial and error, giving myself the skill set and ability to go ahead and do something and make something out of my college career. I never got a job or got hired in the communication space, so I created my own lane. Came home in 2011. I started off at this company called Agora Financial. So if you guys, know now, as far as like the case that I was wrapped up in, it was me working with a company called Agora Financial. I was the marketing executive, the SEO manager for this corporation, guys. My job was to do lead generation. All right, my job is to bring traffic to their websites, consumers and customers, subscribers. These guys sell financial newsletters and, we able to monetize what you guys see online. It was a contrarian publication, guys, which means is that they go left when everybody's going right, and they go right when everybody else is going left. And this is where I learned all of my skill sets, guys, target markets and audiences and upsells, downsells, and how social media and influence can be utilized, guys, for good or for bad. I was probably one of the first guys that got into the bot world, Aaron, as far as automation. I built one of the first automated bot networks that kind of manipulates how websites rank in Google. All right, so now, guys, we're going back about 13 years. This is 2010 and 11. I'm starting off as an intern at a company, a completely white organization, young black kid from Baltimore working at a company in Mount Vernon in Baltimore. The only person that looks like me and that speaks like me. And I came in there, guys, and I took a couple of engineers from Fiverr.com. If anybody's familiar with Fiverr, I was one of the first people on Fiverr as well. I found some kids from Pakistan. I found some kids from Philippines that still work with Chad Focus today. And we built our own independent marketing agency. I paid these guys out of pocket from my salary. We figured out how to do this thing we call SEO, which is how to manipulate Google and Yahoo and Bing so that companies show up very, very high in the search engines organically. And then, you know, Agora, eventually, guys, they contracted me and my guys, and that's how I started off. That's where I come from. I come from that marketing space. I come from starting at a startup company that was worth a couple $1 million to when I left, guys, they were well over $1 billion company per year in sales. I was a part of building a multi-million-dollar, now a multi-billion-dollar organization. And that's where we at, Aaron. That's kind of like the start off that gets you guys like where I was at 2011 to 2015. If you guys want me to kind of segue like how all of this makes sense as far as like the legal issues and everything else, that's cool. If you guys just want to know kind of the marketing space and anything else, you know, just let me know and we go ahead and flow.
Yeah, let's do both. Let's talk about the legal issues, but then we can go back and talk about marketing, because you already are showing that you were the genius behind it. So yeah, let's talk about because that's the hot topic, but I want to get into the marketing.
So look, guys, this is basically like, all right, let's explain it like this. What you guys see online, you don't realize that there's people that manipulate what you guys see. All right. The information that you see, we put it there so you guys can look at it and so you can, you know, absorb it. All right. If you're a Democrat, right, most of those people are watching what your CNNs and MSNBCs. If you're a Republican, you're watching Fox. All right. Programming is the way that I want you guys to look at this entire conversation and make it make sense. Think about radio, think about TV. Now you think about the internet. Corporations that have money and budgets are the ones that program what you guys see, read, find. Even Google can be manipulated, right? So the way that we start off with Google and why I was important to Agora is that they were spending hundreds of millions of dollars in pay-per-click marketing, all right? That's your advertising to put advertisements, guys, all over the search engine pages for whatever you guys search for. So for Aaron, that could be hair care products. For DJ Payne, that could be shaving products. For Chad Focus, that could be jewelry, all right? Companies pay to show up in these slots. The more traffic you get, of course, the more eyeballs you get, and then you try to convert those customers. What I did for Agora was I figured out the algorithm which allowed the same content that they were spending pay-per-click marketing millions of dollars on. I figured out the leverage of how they could organically rank using the cheat code of what I call automation so that they could cut their costs as far as the advertising. So now people love to find things what they feel like is organically. They like to feel like they found something. So the psychology of putting a promotion onto the front page of Google ranks #1. So when they search for a certain keyword, it shows up. The conversion rates will skyrocket. The products that Agora sold, guys, they were more so on the Ponzi type of scheme. They're get-rich-quick schemes. So a lot of you guys are familiar with multi-level marketing and network marketing. I've been a part of a lot of companies like that. We call it affiliate marketing, where you're selling a product and you might see an advertising where it says turn $50 into $5,000, or buy this penny stock and you make $1 million tomorrow, or this new old trade line is going to get you rich tomorrow. Those are the kind of companies, guys, that I was affiliated with and I was working with, and that's what Agora kind of presents. Big publication, guys, where they have writers and designers and copywriters. And my job was basically for those guys to create their Nordstroms, build their store, upsell their actual items, and I was to bring the traffic. I signed a deal where I was making 10%, Aaron, as far as every subscriber that came to the website. And then I was making 10% on the back end of the full lifetime of the customer. So if anybody's looking at it like, yo, Chad Focus had to scam for money, guys, I should be worth at least close to 9 figures right now off of just the commissions alone, the back ends, the front ends, and me putting together the mastermind. Where I went wrong, guys, is being a young dude from Baltimore. I didn't understand that I should have had a legal team when I signed my contracts. That's your non-competes, that's your NDAs. That's when you're signing over your rights in perpetuity. So everything that I was dealing with in the content publishing space, guys, where you know, keen to how that works in the music publishing space, right? Publishing is publishing. And when I went to that company, I signed on as an employee, and I emerged from employee duties to a lot bigger roles within the company, which should have become more defined. I should have got legal representation of what I meant as I grew, as I evolved. I should have created an LLC. I should have forced these guys to, one, pay my LLC the marketing budget, and then I would have allowed myself to, you know, retain a salary and build your trust. There's a lot of stuff, guys, that gets big, but me not having a certain acumen or the knowledge or somebody that had been in that space before, I was allowed to be taken advantage of. You gotta understand, I'm in my 20s. I'm making millions of dollars. I'm making this company billions of dollars. And everybody that I'm working with, we're all in this game together. And like I said, I'm not the one that looks like anybody else. So if you guys remember The Wolf of Wall Street, Leonardo DiCaprio is with Matthew McConaughey in like the first couple scenes. These guys are like snorting coke and they're spending company money and they're having a great time. That was my introduction to Wall Street, guys. You know, my first trip and my first conference was PubCon. It was out Los Angeles. I mean, I was out Las Vegas. We go out there, guys, and the CEO that I'm with, like I said, I'll never throw homie under the bus. That's not what I'm here for. I spent my first weekend on my first big trip, man, in a room that I couldn't afford, driving Range Rovers and Rolls Royces, snorting cocaine, smoking weed, having sex with hookers. And this was what we learned as the corporate life, was how we treated the higher ups because of the benefits of us making millions and millions of dollars for the company. This was what we call the perks. So I got caught in the life, guys, of learning what the perks were, trial and error. Fast forward to what you guys seen as far as like when you get introduced to Chad Focus as this kid that's scamming and doing all these crazy, wild things. I was kind of birthed into that world, guys. I was kind of like introduced to it. And being the only person that looked like myself, I didn't have anybody to mentor me. I didn't have anybody tell me what was right and what was wrong. I did what I seen. I replicated it, and I take responsibility as a man, because no matter what in life, you be able to take responsibility for what you did and what you did wrong. Hindsight is to know what I did wrong. And now for me to come and tell my story to everybody else, where nepotism comes involved, right, guys? You like, they did it, why can't he do it? I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say I did it. This is my transparent story. They'll never admit to what they did, but just go ahead and take my advice, guys, and, you know what I'm saying, live and learn from my mistakes.
Well, let me ask you, what made you go public with it all and expose it all? Because like you said, one, you don't look like them. Two, you're not hiding it like they are. And so
Thanks.
You're catching all the heat.
Well, you know, I put it like this, Payne. I do these interviews, right? And this is my one analogy that I say. If you guys want like a dope analogy, I'm on steroids, guys. All right. So I feel like if Barry Bonds came out and say, I'm on steroids, I had 70 home runs, you guys made billions of dollars because of the energy that came around from me using performance enhancement drugs. Let's have that conversation. You knew, guys, because it was behind the scenes that we were not passing these tests. You guys had those reports. But guess what? If Roger Clemens came out and said, yeah, I was taking steroids too, I had to pitch to Barry Bonds. What you think I was going to do? And if other guys came out and we understood that everybody was doing something that was actually wrong and people were also benefiting from it, we can have a conversation, right? And that's what nobody really wants to do, Payne. Nobody wants to take responsibility, which is perfectly fine. For me, I already lost the reputation that anybody and everybody is kind of holding on to. So my transparency is my superpower. While everybody is out here faking and acting like there's somebody they're not, I'm straight up like, yo, this is who I am, bro. You understand what I'm saying? I'm from Baltimore. I was a multimillionaire. They took everything away from me. I went to prison. I never told on nobody. So as far as my credibility and my honor, I run with that. All right. I'm against the corporation. I'm against the system. The people that are against me is almost like Stockholm syndrome. They like, why would he do that? He's destroying the culture. Guys, all I did is came and took advantage of what they gave us as far as resources, and I do it independently. I do it outside of the mechanism of the control. I own 100% of my publishing and my masters, right? So what's 100% of nothing? I figured out how to put value into what I was doing, guys, using the same resources that they do. All right. I'm not here to expose anybody, but your favorite artists and your biggest labels, they in my inbox. They work for and with Chad Focus. So at the end of the day, that's what I'm bringing to the table, is that they can't do what they're doing without me. I'm one of the guys that engineer the systems that you guys see, the social media manipulation, the bots, the followers, the likes, the comments. All of that, guys, has something to do with the algorithm, that if you guys understood what's going on behind the scenes, you would appreciate what I'm bringing to the game. I just want to even out the playing field, which means that if DJ Payne wants to go and use the same resources that Universal Music does in Atlantic to promote his catalog, don't flag his records on Spotify. Pay that man for what he's worth, because he's still spending his advertising dollars and he's still putting skin in the game. But what I do know is there's guys behind the scene that are here to oppress the independents. And the industry wasn't built for independence, guys, as you know. That's why artists are signing slave deals. That's where perpetuity comes from. And when I seen our favorite artists, guys, that are major, when they lose that record deal and they completely disappear, they no longer have financial literacy opportunities and they're completely jacked up in life. This is what I do it for. I do it for the guys that everybody's forgot about. Some of our favorite artists that don't have insurance, that are in my inbox talking about they never got paid anything from their masters, that signed deals to get 1% off of their actual royalties. And when the label's spending all of your advance money and they're overcharging you for stuff, you're always going to stay in the red. Things like that people don't know these conversations about. You guys consume the music at $9 a clip. It used to cost $10 for an album, $14 for an album. So as a consumer, just think about, we come from that world, guys, where you're no longer even paying for your favorite artists to take care of their friends and their family. So this is not just about me. This is about the creators. This is about the independents. This is about the visionaries. This is about the DJ Paynes. This is about the Aaron Knights. This is about Chad Focus and T-Pain. This is about Akon. This is bigger than just a conversation about me. This is about this entire, industry. And somebody going to go ahead and have to fix it. Why not be the face of what's going on? I'm not the martyr guy. I'm just the one that's telling his story, and it's the truth. And it makes everybody uncomfortable when you tell the truth.
That's the truth right there. So if we can dive back into the marketing, so you're an SEO master and you taught yourself. If we're fast forwarding to now, what are you teaching yourself and what are you focused on as far as industry trends? What are you predicting? Like, what is the marketing thing that you're leaning into right now? Because it's evident that you understand the industry and you're predicting where it's going. So what does that look like right now?
So I'll put it like this. I reverse engineer what's going on. That's my skill set. If it's like, if I'm an X-Men, I reverse engineer. I can see what the competitors are doing, figure out the resources they're using, the budgets, everything. So I'm big, Aaron, in analytics. I love the databases. I'm one of the only independent artists that has a Music Connect 2.0 account, your chart metrics, access to all of my distributions and other people's distributions. So I study what's going on as far as the data. I come home from prison. This is Thanksgiving 2022. I was in a halfway house. I got this $10 phone, guys. So everything that you see that I've been doing, I was doing in a halfway house with 160 inmates. No resources, no internet, guys, cracking into people's Wi-Fi. Like, this is the limitedest resources you can have, guys. I'm going viral. What I know is influence works. So what social media created for us was digital real estate, where people like a Kim Kardashian and a Kanye West and an Aaron and a DJ Payne have platforms, they have followings, that if you guys support and endorse one movement at the same time, it can create a snowball. So what you're seeing happen with Chad Focus is the kid comes out and says he makes 70K with Spotify bots. I don't say how, why, what's going on, but that right there was enough to trigger an actual algorithm. That has put that in front of everybody's eyes. I have over 90,000 shares in the last 2 months alone. I got over 50 million views. If you think about what that would cost to do an organic campaign, that's a multi-million-dollar campaign of going viral. I'm a young guy that just left prison as the scammer that came back home and hasn't released new music and is the talk of the music industry. Reels work, all right? Taking segments from a long-form piece of copy, which is we're going to do an interview for an hour, 2 hours. Brandman Network has two 2-minute clips, 2 1-minute clips that has changed their lives. And these guys are marketers. I love Corey. I love Sean. When have you guys ever gone viral before Chad Focus came on the platform? And our job is to help other people go viral. So shouldn't we be going viral? Shouldn't that be a part of the case study? The reels work. Saying things that are true and it being a headline, not clickbait, but an actual quote, that works. All right? Facts work. Me saying 200 songs, guys, I got a catalog. 3,000 streams per day less allows you to stay under the threshold. That's me talking about data. This isn't like me making this up. This is about you guys go try that. How do I know? Because I've had my records flagged by Spotify and they let me know that 3,000 or 10,000 records is when they have their automation detection check to see if this record is actually getting the real traction. They only do it to non-mainstream artists because if you're mainstream, it's more possible for you to go ahead and get 3,000 streams per track per day. So if you understand what's going on, this is discrimination on an actual technical level, guys. And once I figured it out, I said, look, let me go ahead and put this out here. I own publishing of major artists. I own publishing of independent artists. I run campaigns for both. And I see the disparities between the both. And I'm giving you guys the game. As far as what I'm doing right now, Aaron, the algorithm that you guys see that I'm tweaking right now, I got the biggest bot network in the world. That's really why they wanted to put me in prison, guys, because I control influence. You give me a budget, whether you're a politician, whether you own a certain product, whether you got a song, whether you're an Ice Spice, and I'll make much the number one shit in the world. That's what they see and they know right now, because I'm making my stuff number one right now, guys, with no budget and owing somebody millions of dollars of restitution. What does that mean for these type of creators? What does exposure mean for the people that are trying to look at what we do? So they're missing that point, Aaron, that I figured out the algorithm is influence. I figured out a way to get people to share and to have a conversation. And it's the elephant in the room where one guy, like I said, is taking on the road that I feel like a Barry Bonds should have took, which is I'm on my Jose Canseco, but I'm not throwing nobody else under the bus. I'm just saying, look, either you guys can come and join me, or you can stand on the sidelines and just continue to call me, and I'm going to still get money because I'm running campaigns for your biggest and your best and your favorites. And they want to tweak the algorithm so they can get more bang for their buck. So everybody wants the sauce, and I'm the sauce.
So I'm trying to run the numbers here, and 200 songs in a catalog, and they're each getting, let's say, 2,999 streams each every day. Based on which, I think this is a problematic number, but if we're talking about $0.004 per stream, which is kind of the accepted royalty rate per stream, which it isn't.
Yep.
You know that. But based on that number, we're looking at about $2,400 a day, which is amazing money. And that can, a lot of people were critical of that, saying, well, that's not how, the bots can't show up to your concert. And it's like, listen, if I'm making damn near $2,500 a day, do you know what I can do? That's financial freedom.
They're not thinking.
They're not thinking. But in addition to that, you're talking about all these other components, because clearly when you're talking about reels, et cetera, and this is something, minus the bots, automation aside, right? Everything you said, even if someone doesn't implement any sort of automation, that is solid advice for artists. And a lot of artists, again, aren't thinking in terms of organic reach. You're hitting it from both angles, because the brand man stuff, that's organic. There are no bots involved. You're just putting out content that people want, and you're framing it in the way that attracts them and that gets them boosted in the algorithm completely organically.
Put it like this, right? I say 600,000 streams a day. If we just talking about math, like you said, Payne's doing the math. There's streaming calculators out there, guys, for you to do the math. I'm the one guy that's talking about the fucking math. Excuse my language. Like, let's have a conversation about, like you said, 0.003 is 0.003 fifths of a penny. They ain't paying us shit. All right. So how you guys going to use your leverage? Snoop Dogg was just on the actual platform talking about, I got 1 billion streams and I'm not making no money from 1 billion streams. But Snoop, what does the ownership look like that you signed over for what you are going to get from that 1 billion streams? That's the conversation. So we know 1 billion streams makes $4 million, but maybe you only getting 20% of that $4 million. All right. Maybe if you owned 100%, 1 billion streams would be $4 million sent right to your TuneCore. If you look at what Russ is doing, guys, and why he's genius, he built up his catalog. He went and took the leverage to the actual fucking record labels, guys. They built them and made them famous. He put out some #1 hits. He retained ownership to the publishing, and now he cashes out TuneCore every single month, guys, because he's famous. He got a fan base. He leveraged the system, and he gives you the game. And what does he say that everybody gets mad at him for, Payne? I write, produce, own, engineer, mix, and master, and everybody's like, damn, yes, guys, I kept it all in-house. I own everything. What they don't talk about with Chad Focus, I built my own record label. I'm from Baltimore. I taught myself music and publishing, guys. I do my own copyright, my own admin, my own sound exchange, my own song trust. I got digital radio, internet radio. I understand advertising. I've been doing AdWords. I monetized every last piece of the game, guys, and taught myself. I went in all of these meetings, guys, and figured this out. If I do 1 million streams, which Payne, you could type in Chad Focus Spotify charting and see that in 2017, bro, I was top 200 in Spotify. I was making $4,000 a day. Easy. This is facts. I built my own video game app. I connected the API key from Spotify to my video game. I automated the bots to download my game on real platforms. Every time I have a minute, I got 2 streams. 2 streams allows me to make 1 penny. So I create formulas that make sense. Guess what? The record labels aren't going to put me on Madden and NBA 2K. I'm not getting no sync licensing deals. I don't got no friends at Xbox and PlayStation. But I can go on Fiverr, guys, build an app, put it on the Google Play Store, put it on the Apple Play Store, and I can use the technology to make it work for myself. All right? And then I can help you guys do it, $5,000 a clip. But the game is, now that we're doing the streams, right? I talk about 18 million to 20 million streams safely. I'm no longer focused, guys, on making a single work because I'm trying to make this work for life, guys. I got a catalog. Your one-hit wonders are still performing the same song 20 years later because they don't have a catalog, because they don't get streams for anything but that one song. So when they go perform other songs, we look at them and say nothing at all. So you got to think about where I see this game going at Pain. I'm spending $4 to make $6, guys, because using technology is not free. All right. If you buy an advertisement through Facebook or Instagram, what serves that advertising, Pain? A bot. A bot puts it in front of everybody that you're targeting. That's not a human interaction. Pain isn't going and putting this up, guys. This isn't like newspapers and vinyls and TV and broadcasting. You're working with bots each and every day. Every time you go on a website and you got a problem with customer service, you're working with a bot, guys. I'm just the one that's using the bots, man, to work for me, my team, and my homies. 18 million to 20 million streams every month, guys, is $60,000, $70,000. If you're spending $40,000, guys, you'll make 60 or 70 grand, guys. I'm making $4 turning to $6. If you break it down, I'm making a $20,000 to $30,000 net profit. I do this each and every day. Not only this, guys, but your favorite artists are selling their publishing every day, and you guys aren't taking a piece of that. All right. Quality Control just sold their publishing. We got Murder Inc. sold their publishing. You're looking at Justin Timberlake sold his publishing. Lil Wayne sold his publishing. Do you know that those auctions were public? I own pieces of Beyonce. I own pieces of 21 Savage. I own pieces of Taylor Swift. This is public knowledge, guys. You can use the royalty machines that are out here. You can use SongVest, guys. So I'm giving you game. I'm giving you education. I could either take it and put it in and gatekeep it in Focus Music University for $5,000 a year, which I'm thinking about doing, so I can actually have people that feel like I'm giving them value, or I can continue to evolve and figure out more stuff. So that's the game for me, Pain. I want a Michael Jackson in the industry, bro. I want to own a Beatles catalog, bro. And I want to be the same guy that created Thriller. I'm trying to be both of those guys at the same time. And I mastered this. And everybody that we know in the industry knows about it, but none of those guys can sit in that room and have this conversation. And none of our favorite artists, rappers, singers, dancers that look at why they're popping right now realize that's coming out of their actual catalog. That's coming out of their royalties. That's coming out of their actual advances, guys. They're paying these guys to keep them in slavery and for them to stay cool in front of you. My favorite artist, guys, is Future. When he talked about Molly Percocet and said, I don't use Molly Percocet, and that went over you guys' head. You're being sold, you're being programmed, and respectfully, my favorite artists, guys, in the industry don't even know what's going on behind the scenes. Now, if we come together, game over. If everybody goes in and gets mad at Chad Focus, perfectly fine, guys. I'm from Baltimore. I wasn't supposed to make it past 30. This is light work. All right. I just did a prison sentence, bro. They took me away from my kids, took away my mansions, my cars. They strip you down to take your material. They can't take your mind. They can't take your knowledge. They can't take your passion. And Pain, they can't take away the data, Pain.
Mm. Yeah, and they did.
Y'all good? Y'all good? Is it too much for you? Huh? Kive, is it too much? Too much of him saying his name in third person? Is it too much for him saying his name in third person for you? I just try to put y'all up on other shit because the whole point is earlier today I was going through the whole Billboard shit. And to me it's all the same thing. We went from Billboard to playlists, and now we went to the source of what really controls the algorithms, right? Like he's talking about how he uses the bots to benefit himself. I mean, yeah, that's the main part that I'm saying. So he's talking about how he using these bots to benefit himself. And he's saying he can give you that service, or maybe start a school to teach you. Well, I guess my iPad died. That's why I keep looking back here. Give me a sec. I'll put it on later. Oh, you don't? No, Kai, I feel where you're coming from, but let's think about, all jokes aside, let's think about it, right? You could either pay somebody that says they could do this and find testimonials, or figure it out, take all the time and figure out yourself. But the point is, if you want to make those numbers, and that's what I'm saying when I said earlier to you about your song getting on the radio, it's going to cost. And he's trying to tell you the same thing. With these DSPs, you want your shit to stream and make the numbers for you to make money, it's going to cost. That's the whole point. Whether you got the money from your shows and invested, or whatever else and you invested, or someone gave you a loan, it's going to cost. He says he spends 4 to make 6. You tell the average person to do that, they're going to be like, nah, man, nah. I ain't got 4. That's just the real. But they got 4 to get their drink. They got 4 for them strippers. They got 4 for them sneakers. They got 4 for the weed. If you really want to make it in your business, your career, your art, you have to invest. I seen Clive Davis spend $5 million to make 10. So, the main thing that going back to what I'm saying, it's like it went from the charts, now we on the playlist and the algorithms. But as he said, even the algorithms is AI. It's all computers. Now, what happens is, after a while, when these bots and these computers and the algorithm get you in front of real people, and those celebrities and influencers start talking about you, then you start connecting, and now you are one of those people that can now use your brand to capitalize regardless of what you do. So you can use the industry to do it, and they take so much from you, or you can figure out a way to do it on your own. And it's a lot of work on your own. You know what I'm saying? So that's the main thing. It's like, because everyone is like, oh, the music ain't the same and this ain't the, yeah, I mean, it's never been just about your art and talent. It's never been just about the music. You know what I mean? It's the music business. And the thing that I'm showing this video to you guys is because it's trying to, this video shows you where the business is at now. Because too many of us still talking about old shit that don't matter, like the Billboard charts and the this and that and DJ this and the radio that, like, the labels don't do that. The labels never did that. That was all a lie. The only labels that bring new, fresh talent and new, fresh genres have always been the independents. The independent labels are the ones that's giving you the new shit. The majors come in and say, oh, this shit is working. Let me latch on to it. And you know what? Let me water it down so I can get more people to like it and be in the now. That's how it always been. The beginning of rap was so dope and so creative and versatile because it all came from the majors. From the independents. In the 90s, that's when the majors started taking over. In the 90s, right? And I showed you. What happened in the 90s. Right? This is what happened in the 90s. We get this as number one. We get this as number one rap record in the 90s. That's what the fuck happens. So if you're gonna play the game, you gotta play the game. Oh, people are upset with him because he exposed the game. You know what I mean? Like there is no organic. Well, there is a type of organic, like he said, like the brand man is showing you how certain videos can go viral but it's the content, it's the information, it's the shit that people want to know. You know what I mean? But, you know. So I'm going to play a little more of this. Unless y'all done with it. But yeah, he's exposing to you the real game of how it works. And there was a Vice article on him before he went to jail. You know? But as he said, when you using these ads, you're using it's a bot. When you're doing these services, it's a bot. The algorithm that's figuring out what you like, that's a bot. So why y'all mad at the bots for? Why you mad at him because he used bots? It's like, come on. You think the major labels are going out there and doing organic shit? No, they putting money in things they feel are the sure bet. And you should too. Or like you said, or else you might as well just go to every corner with your guitar or your beat machine and rap your heart out, sing your heart out for a bucket of money from people who don't really want to hear you because you ain't break their algorithm. But the other thing to me is, all jokes aside, it's also about combining resources. So you not doing it by yourself. You connecting with a collective and y'all pushing each other. Just like he said earlier, he's like, yo, if we all push this one thing, it can get the attention of the influencers and you just take it from there. There's strength in numbers. It's always been strength in numbers. And that's why I started this membership. It's strength in numbers. You get enough people on the same page, you can move the needle and get the attention of the people who have everybody else's attention. You know what I mean? So.
And $4 turning to $6, if you break it down, I'm making a $20,000 to $30,000 net profit. I do this each and every day. Not only this, guys, but your favorite artists are selling their publishing every day, and you guys aren't taking a piece of that. All right? Quality Control just sold their publishing. We got Murder Inc. sold their publishing. You're looking at Justin Timberlake sold his publishing. Lil Wayne sold his publishing. Do you know that those auctions were public? I own pieces of Beyonce. I own pieces of 21 Savage. I own pieces of Taylor Swift. This is public knowledge, guys. You can use the royalty machines that are out here. You can use SongVest, guys. So I'm giving you game. I'm giving you education. I could either take it and put it in and gatekeep it in Focus Music University for $5,000 a year, which I'm thinking about doing, so I can actually have people that feel like I'm giving them value, or I can continue to evolve and figure out more stuff. So that's the game for me, Payne. I want a Michael Jackson in the industry, bro. I want to own a Beatles catalog, bro. And I want to be the same guy that created Thriller. I'm trying to be both of those guys at the same time. And I mastered this. And everybody that we know in the industry knows about it, but none of those guys can sit in that room and have this conversation. And none of our favorite artists, rappers, singers, dancers that look at why they're popping right now realize that's coming out of their actual catalog. That's coming out of their royalties. That's coming out of their actual advances, guys. They're paying these guys to keep them in slavery and for them to stay cool in front of you. My favorite artist, guys, is Future. When he talked about Molly Percocet and said, I don't use Molly Percocet, and that went over you guys' head. You're being sold, you're being programmed, and respectfully, my favorite artists, guys, in the industry don't even know what's going on behind the scenes. Now, if we come together, game over. If everybody goes in and gets mad at Chad Focus, perfectly fine, guys. I'm from Baltimore. I wasn't supposed to make it past 30. This is light work. All right? I just did a prison sentence, bro. They took me away from my kids, took away my mansions, my cars. They strip you down to take your material. They can't take your mind. They can't take your knowledge. They can't take your passion. And Payne, they can't take away the data, Payne.
Mm. Yeah, and they did Spotify did kind of make an example of you, right? At some point.
Facts. So they removed my actual campaign, right? So Chad Focus is removed from Spotify, right? Remove my records, stop paying me out through my distribution. So let me tell you the trick for that, guys. And this is right here. This is $1 million worth of game. Again, as always, right? Shout out to Gilly. Metadata, guys. The metadata is what the actual track is created, guys. It's your MP3. When you create the record, your BPM, the tag, everything that has to do with the actual file. They can't take away your metadata because that, guys, your IRSC codes, your UPCs, do the research after you watch this because Payne is giving y'all the game. When you distribute your records to your Nielsen's, your SoundScans, your BDSs, and all these databases, it's built off of metadata. They can't play with the metadata. The game does not start and stop with Spotify. The person that's paying you guys the most in the industry is Napster, who was the guys that were the original crooks. Now they're the ones that take the best care of the artists. All right? You know who's paying you out the best? Tidal. And you know who they tried to destroy? They tried to destroy Jay for what he tried to do for the artists because he tried to provide exclusivity. Look, Beyonce is here at Tidal. Kanye West is here at Tidal. So they try to punish Jay and saying those guys were inflating their streams. Do your research and watch what's happening when a young black man, billionaire, owns his own streaming services, puts his friends on, and gives them the higher payouts. Tidal pays money. Napster pays money. Deezer pays money. Apple Music pays money. Y'all get lost on the Spotify game. I'm just exposing the biggest crook in the game, guys. Don't let them give you bits and pieces and peanuts. Don't let them put all types of crazy stuff on their platform, Payne, as far as stuff that we've seen with the COVID and guys they let go on the platform say whatever they want to. Don't let them pick and choose. That's why I say this nepotism is different. For me, I got Spotify, I got Apple Music, I got Tidal, I got metadata. I got records on all of these platforms under different pseudonyms. I own other artists' records, Payne, like I said. I'm running campaigns with some of your favorite artists' records. I own publishing. This is a publishing conversation. This is not about Chad Focus, the artist, guys. It's about Chad Focus, the boss, the independent record label CEO exec. And every last one of you guys, when you're an independent artist, you're an entrepreneur. Start your own LLC. Sign yourself. Figure out what you're worth. Build up the value in your digital real estate so that one day they can go on SongVest and sell your shares of your song for $1.50 for 10,000 shares.
Yeah, I want to talk about psychology too, because obviously that's a
excuse me. All right. So used to having the headphones on. I don't even know if y'all can hear me. Y'all still with me? What's good, man? You know, y'all know I can't see y'all, right? So if I don't see that chat moving, I don't know who's here, man. Y'all know I can't see y'all, right? All right, cool. I can open the Discord if y'all want to hear yourselves. Let's see. All right, let's change it. I think y'all get the point of this. Y'all get the point of that. Let's pivot a little more. So we went from Billboard to playlists to algorithm bots, Spotify bots. All right, so this is Brandman Sean Network. I like them too. They do a lot to help independents. And I haven't watched this either, so we gonna both watch it for the first time. And this is how the music industry will look like in 2024. Prepare. Before I play that, I gotta do my part and promote my shit for those that here for the first. I think everybody here knows, but this is for the playback. Kerry Crucial Brothers.
And the Grammy goes to?
You probably know me as Crucial Keys.
Crucial right here, the other half of Crucial Keys, is an incredible musician and producer.
I'm a 2-time Grammy Award-winning, platinum and diamond selling music producer, songwriter, and probably one of the best kept secrets. I've been doing music for over 35 years. I've collaborated with the likes of Nas, Rakim, Keisha Cole, Isaac Hayes, Tony, and many more. I've worked on several movie scores and soundtracks, but I'm mostly known as Alicia Keys' music partner and executive producer for her first 4 studio albums and 1 unplugged, all with no formal music training. For the first time ever, I'm going to let you in on my secrets. We're going to be discussing music production, songwriting, and the mindsets it takes to bring the best out of you and your creativity. I'll share my insights on nurturing and creating synergy between artists, producers, and songwriters. I'll guide you through the art of songwriting, breaking down some of the essentials on memorable melodies, essential lyrics, and create an emotional response from your listeners. I'll also go behind the scenes and tell never-before-told stories, inspiration, and technical nuances behind some of the most acclaimed tracks I've been involved with. So whether you're just starting out or already deep in the music industry, there's something in this masterclass for everyone. Let's make some timeless music. My name is Kerry Crucial Brothers. My name is Kerry Crucial Brothers. All right. So hold on, I gotta get you. I need to do the command on a Twitch chat. So that's the link for the info. All right, so this is how the music industry will look like in 2024. Prepare now. This is No Labels Necessary. This is Brandman Sean's podcast. Another one I'll follow. And this is who they were talking about when they were saying Brandman Network. He was the first one to bring Chad on and really give Chad a chance to tell his story. But this is another video from them. I haven't seen this before. I saw the other ones before. But yeah. That's history. That's history.
You're going to see all these headlines that are like, streaming is saving the music industry. The music industry is breaking out of its slump and reaching new all-time highs in terms of annual revenue. I'm sure labels are going to use these types of figures, these types of headlines to paint a narrative. So they're going to look to all the rising TikTok stars and say, like, sign with us. The music industry is going up. We can help you get your catalog sold in the future. We can help you get your streaming numbers up.
Oh, fun fact, I forgot to mention, I don't want to pivot too much, but also there is companies, investors that's giving TikTok, and you already know YouTube, they offered Mr. Beats $1 billion, and podcasters essentially like deals. They want to give them deals, pay them all this money up front to own their content. So I know a lot of us, including myself, it gets crazy, you know, a little resistant of doing content all the time because you just want to create your music, make your beats, sing your songs, whatever. But content is king. Content is the new songs, the new labels, the new shows, the new whatever, you know what I mean? So you just got to figure out a way to make content that you can maintain. So that's, to me, like, I think that plays in the thing, especially going back to earlier when there's 100,000 songs being uploaded. What content you have besides your music is going to help you get their attention. And I think where a lot of people have a problem, including myself, is trying to do too much and not be able to maintain it, or take too much time doing it where you can't get back to the music or the acting or the business that you're really in. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like the catch-22 too. Is like figure out a way how to make content that you can maintain. You know, whether it's you giving reactions, whether it's you doing a podcast, you don't like to be on camera, you do audio. You don't like to do this, you do that. Like figure it out what you can maintain that can go along with your music or your business that promotes your business. You know what I mean? But yeah.
Like sign with us. The music industry is going up. We can help you get your catalog sold in the future. We can help you get your streaming numbers up. This is where all the money is. That's not necessarily the case.
What's up? What's up? What's up? I'm Brandman Sean.
And I'm Corey.
And we are back with another episode of No Labels Necessary podcast. You can catch us every Tuesday, every Thursday on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you stream your podcast. Stop it. Stop it.
It's been a long time coming, man. I seen the comments that you made, just basically, gaslighting us. And like, well, I ain't did that.
hey, man, we got to establish our process, man. I don't know if you saw the early episodes, a lot of audio issues and things like that. We don't bring people on until we know what we're doing.
You did the one episode. You did like this one sort of like interstitial where you were like, hey, I'm sorry for the quality.
With music, a lot of different hacks and ways, digitally especially, and also when you should start selling. But starting here, the music industry is going to zero. I'm gonna just let you rock, sir. I want you to talk on it, and then I'm gonna bring up some specific points. But I want you to explain the overall idea of why you think the music
Can y'all hear this good?
Industry is going to zero.
For sure. Well, so, one being is that like, do I think it's actually going to go to zero? Maybe not. That's like a bit of like an incendiary, headline. But
there's an asymptote maybe.
Cool.
Yeah, but exactly. But like the point being is that we hear so often, if you read musicbusinessnews.com or whatever, like you're going to see all these headlines that are like streaming is saving the music industry. The music industry is breaking out of its slump from the Napster era and reaching new all-time highs in terms of annual revenue. And I made a video a little while back that to kind of illustrate that like that is true if you're not that market literate, if you're not like very intensely into finance and like sort of macroeconomics, because in 1999 the music industry had a peak of like I think 21.6 billion or something like that. And then, over the last few years, we've been climbing above that. And you would think, okay, we had this big hit with the internet where the music industry wasn't prepared and they didn't do the right things. You can read a great book called Appetite for Self-Destruction if you want to learn more about sort of how the music industry really screwed up in the Napster era. But as a result, they went from like 21.6 billion down, and everyone thought the music industry is never going to resuscitate. And so, over the past few years with streaming and all that, we've been reaching these new all-time highs, and everyone's excited about it, and everyone's talking about how the music industry is back, baby. But if you look at, so like, the music industry, its annual revenue is really a fraction. The number they're giving you is a fraction. It's the music industry's annual revenue over dollars. And so if you're not tracking the actual weakness of the dollar, or you're not tracking the amount of dollars out there in the system, you might be inclined to think, well, we're reaching these new all-time highs. But if you look at the actual supply of dollars, that has increased by 40% over the last half a decade. And so really, you can adjust these numbers to say, okay, given that there's so many more dollars in the system, how much in 1999 dollars, when you account for inflation, are we actually at now? And you'll find that we're actually still at the lows of the trough. We haven't actually been climbing up. We've actually just been staying sort of stagnant, a little bit down from our lows ever since the Fed started printing like crazy amounts of money with 0% interest rates and stuff like that. So, the idea that the music industry is climbing back out of its trough.
So basically, y'all didn't know I was giving you music business 101 today. This is all about the business. Business. This is business of music today. You know what I mean? But I think it's important to know and understand, and you don't beat your head against the wall wondering why you can't use it to take care of yourself, because we all have the right to make a living from our art, make a living from our joy. And these are some of the factors on what can get in the way, so to speak. So this is why I'm doing this, because this is what helps me.
If you look at the actual supply of dollars, that has increased by 40% over the last half a decade. And so really, you can adjust these numbers to say, okay, given that there's so many more dollars in the system, how much in 1999 dollars, when you account for inflation, are we actually at now? And you'll find that we're actually still at the lows of the trough. We haven't actually been climbing up. We've actually just been staying sort of stagnant, a little bit down from our lows ever since the Fed started printing like crazy amounts of money with 0% interest rates and stuff like that. So, the idea that the music industry is climbing back out of its trough and it's reaching new all-time highs, it's not actually true. We're actually, when you account for inflation, we're actually at all-time lows of the last 20 years.
So a couple things, just to simplify it, right? Inflation, I'm gonna use that one because everybody's pretty in common with inflation, right? So partially because of inflation, right, we might be making more dollars as an industry as a whole, but technically there's lower value, right?
Yeah, it's worth less cartons of milk.
Exactly, right? What was the number in 1999, and then what was the number last year? I just can't remember the latest number.
Yeah, so the 1999 peak was right between 20 and 30 billion on this chart. So let's call it like 25 bill, right? And then currently we're at around like 28 billion for last year. But when you adjust for inflation, we're under 10 billion in 1999 dollars. And I can I'll send you guys this chart so you can use it.
Out of the screen for sure. And I mean, going from 20 billion, 25 billion to 28 billion over 20 years is actually horrible in the first place, right?
Not great.
Not great gains, but then you throw in adjusting for inflation and the fact that we've been losing is pretty crazy. So what does that mean for artists?
Yeah,
industry as a whole, right? And I don't think people think about the industry as a whole, but when your industry is shrinking, what does that mean for you as an individual?
Yeah, so I think that like the all the narrative that comes with these headlines, like the narrative that we believe that like, oh, streaming has counteracted the problems we faced in 1999 or 2000. It was a problem that music became a digital file type and now could be distributed at zero cost infinitely. That's a problem, but no more problem because Spotify solved it all. That's just not the case. And so I
don't
think
even sound right.
If you were to presume that like, the music industry has become once again a good field to be in, it's a growth industry, it's just going to keep going up. I don't know if that's necessarily the presumption you should make as an artist. And, labels I'm sure labels are going to use these types of figures, these types of headlines to paint a narrative when they're looking to capture value. So they're going to look to all the rising TikTok stars and say like, sign with us. The music industry is going up. We can help you get your catalog sold in the future. We can help you get your streaming numbers up. This is where all the money is. That's not necessarily the case. And most people with a large audience, I think, would be better thinking of themselves as influencers than musicians, because at least they'd be trying to sell some products and make some money.
Amen.
Right. Hey, that's why we're so heavy on content. We've always been heavy on.
Here we go. Hold on.
I think that like the all the narrative that comes with.
Hold on. I had to bring that back because this is what we must understand. no matter how dope you are musically, it's probably much easier for you to sell merch than it is to sell a song. Even if you say, "Hey, buy my song for $1." Because I know they were talking about it. I don't know if iTunes stopped a store where you can pay $1 and download, but you still have Bandcamp where you could pay for music. But we're at the point it was like people don't want to buy your music, but yet they'll still buy tickets to your show because it comes with an experience. So, and content, in essence, gives them an experience too. So you could think of it that way, in a way as well. You know what I mean?
These headlines, like the narrative that we believe that like, oh, streaming has
I gotta figure out a way how to adjust this.
Counteracted the problems we faced in 1999 or 2000. You know, it was a problem.
Yes, especially vinyl.
Music became a digital file type.
Especially vinyl, Kive. Especially vinyl. People still buy vinyl. Vinyl is actually outselling CDs because I spoke about that too. Like, you know, you could do CDs, but in this day and time, vinyl is outselling CDs. But vinyl is more expensive to make. CDs are cheaper, so just something that people can collect. You know what I mean? Because there's not many people that got stuff that play CDs, including myself. As I said, I found the first Crucial Keys mixtape. See what it says? The game is rigged. The game always been rigged. And I can't play it because I don't have a CD player. All right, but I'll figure it out. But yeah, definitely physical copies, collector's items, and even NFTs. I know everybody was on NFT and they ran off of it, but NFTs are gonna make a comeback. You watch. Special collector's items, digital, with certification, they will come back. Especially when all y'all get the Apple glasses and the Google glasses.
And now could be distributed at zero
good.
cost.
That's good. That's good.
That's a problem, but no more problem because Spotify has solved it all. You know, that's just not the case. And so I think if you were to presume that like, the music industry has become once again a good field to be in. It's a growth industry. It's just going to keep going up. You know, I don't know if that's necessarily the presumption you should make as an artist. And, you know, I'm sure labels are going to use these types of figures, these types of headlines to paint a narrative when they're looking to capture value. So they're gonna look to all the rising TikTok stars and say like, sign with us. You know, the music industry is going up. We can help you get your catalog sold in the future. We can help you get your streaming numbers up. This is where all the money is. That's not necessarily the case. And most people with a large audience, I think, would be better thinking of themselves as influencers than musicians, because at least they'd be trying to sell some products and make some money.
Amen.
Right. Hey, that's why we're so heavy on content. We've always been heavy on content. Just understanding that. I think the way I simplify it, right, is because you got all the numbers, man. You're like, circuit comes with the genius, the great journalism research,
the data.
Data. You know, I go with off of a few sets of data, generally speaking, when I don't have time to research. And it starts like this, right? We look at Spotify. You've mentioned that Spotify is profitable. It's no secret, right?
Yeah.
And I think they said they reported a profit in a couple of years or whatever. But like overall, we know they're not like really making money, right? So we complain so much on the artist end, y'all aren't paying us. But then when you look at the fact that the company that you think is robbing you also isn't making money, you have to go a little bit deeper than just thinking that we're being wronged, right? I know it, like, if you stay in that adversarial relationship, it can blind you of the bigger picture that, yo, no, something's going on, period. Even the person robbing me isn't making money. Then what is going on? Like, what moves should I make? And I think one thing that you just said was, right, looking at yourself as an influencer as in totality. And I think we can differentiate that in a second. And then the other side of that is, if you are an artist, right, on the independent side, we've gotten all this accessibility, distribution that has happened over the last, 15, maybe 20 years because of social media and these independent distributors, right? I think the problem that occurs is people don't notice that the music industry is shrinking, in your words, because the distribution has spread out. So if I'm used to getting $0, you have all these people who are used to getting nothing now making $50,000, $30,000, $500,000 for the first time. You don't notice that the pie is smaller because, as far as you individually are concerned, the pie is bigger.
Yeah,
that's where the good news is that, year over year for the last 7 years, if you take that pie and you divvy it up into independent artists and major label artists, the independent artist share is growing. We are, despite there being less money overall, we're getting more of that money for indie artists than ever before. And when I say the pie, I'm talking entirely about revenue from recorded music. So that's royalties, that is licensing, it's full transfer and sale of rights, it's rights associated with intellectual property, musical works. It doesn't include, your merch, your touring, all of that stuff. So it's important to note because, when we say the music industry, we're talking entirely about the money made from intellectual property.
So some artists and managers are just waiting for lucky moments when the ones who are killing it have systems to consistently take artists to another level.
I'm over here looking for videos on the creative economy. Yeah, that's facts. And that's why I said a lot of them are getting deals now. They're being offered deals. You made more on one song NFT in a month than it did in 5 years in a whole project by touring. But that was a 2-year process in the Web3 space, so it wasn't overnight. That's crazy. Well, congrats. That's it. You have to create something other than the music. The music is almost like the commercial now. The commercial for your show, the commercial for your service, your commercial for your product. Yeah, I was trying to find a video on the creative economy. I'm gonna keep looking. Y'all good though?
How y'all feel out there? Grammy, if you want to check this out and apply it to yourself. Back to the video.
Which brings me to something else, but I'm gonna hold that to the end, so not to distract us, man. We got the influencer aspect of things, right? When you say an influencer, we actually literally just talked about this maybe an episode or a clip or two ago, all right? The fact that music is not all of the things that people think the music industry is, right? We literally just talked about touring technically is not the music industry, right? Yeah. So using the influencer umbrella, I think we can even broaden and more clearly explain to the audience why, one, artists should look beyond music, but also how some of the things that they're already thinking or about doing actually aren't in the music industry, and that'll probably help people understand the opportunity, even though the industry is shrinking. So can you give us your thoughts on an artist being an influencer today versus yesterday?
Yeah, I think a good, a guy who's been definitely circling the drain in your guys' world, and we're all big fans, is Russell, and what an absolute genius. And if you look at all of his activities, I would say that very, very small portion of Russell's revenue is you could actually attribute to this number of music industry annual revenue. Because when he sells way above margin, the rights to a portion of his streaming totals, or he sells, an NFT of an album, how much of that actually gets credited back? Probably only just the royalty allocation. So if I'm selling if I get $2,500 for an album, you're still looking at the same amount going towards the music industry's annual revenue as if I had sold a $5 album. It's the royalties. Because the premium that he's able to charge on that is based entirely off of non-musical stuff. And so, the key being that, like, if you look at someone in the, we take on a lot of legacy artists who have like tens of millions of followers. And it's like, if I'm a marketer, like an e-commerce marketer, where I help, new e-commerce brands, makeup, t-shirts, whatever, build up their revenue, I'm looking at your socials and I'm determining what's the captive audience here and how much, should this business be making. If it's 500, there are e-commerce brands with 500,000 followers who are making well over $10 million annual revenue. But if you see an artist with 500,000, followers, the presumption is not that they're making $10 million, right. And
Crazy.
So that's real, like, our agency wouldn't exist if.
Do you hear, did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? Okay, I'm gonna run it back a little bit, because the era of the broke artists and broke creators should be done.
Artists who have like tens of millions of followers, and it's like, if I'm a marketer, like an e-commerce marketer, where I help, new e-commerce brands, makeup, t-shirts, whatever, build up their revenue, I'm looking at your socials and I'm determining what's the captive audience here and how much, should this business be making. If it's 500, there are e-commerce brands with 500,000 followers who are making well over $10 million annual revenue. But if you see an artist with 500,000, followers, the presumption is not that they're making $10 million, right. And so that's real, like, our agency wouldn't exist if that weren't the case. We're entirely an arbitrage of how much the music industry expects a following to generate in terms of dollars, and how much we as marketers know that should be the case if we're doing proper extraction of that value. So really, it's like, the music industry is very poor, very terrible at turning attention into dollars, as evidenced by the fact that this music industry annual revenue, if you look at the music industry's annual revenue, I did this with Bard the other day on Google, the new Google AI, as I was like, give me a bunch of industries that are below 30 billion annual revenue, but above 20 billion. And, you'll find that, like, personal laundry services make more
Wow.
annual than the entire global recorded music industry.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm opening a laundromat. That's it. I'll play music in a laundromat, though. I'm opening a 24-hour card and coin only laundromat, and I'll DJ on Friday nights. There it is. Y'all got to come to my new laundromat. For real. Y'all think I'm bullshitting. Yeah, I know y'all got some clothes to wash.
If we're doing proper extraction of that value. So really, it's like, the music industry is very poor, very terrible at turning attention into dollars, as evidenced by the fact that this music industry annual revenue, if you look at the music industry's annual revenue, I did this with Bard the other day.
Double wash Fridays.
Google AI, as I was like, give me a bunch of industries that are below
Lost dryer
30
Tuesdays.
billion annual revenue, but above 20 billion. And, you'll find that, like, personal laundry services make more annual than the entire global recorded music industry. Yeah, it's a joke.
First 100 people in before 10 get a free
so
wash.
Much outsized influence, right? Like, the music industry is the cultural mainstay.
I got it all figured out.
Like, everyone knows these people, but they don't. The music industry is terrible at value extraction from that outsized attention. So I think that's the big thing that artists should really pay attention to, is like, how much should you be making per 100,000 eyeballs. You know, it's probably way more than the music industry is able to make.
That goes back to our conversation about not encouraging our people to be artists. Remember I said the probability is already so low, and then the industry's so bad at monetizing. Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation though.
Yeah, because even like we talk about like Russell being a good example of that, because like you said, like he's really just taking influencer community building strategies and applying it to the music world, and it's so revolutionary in music, but then like all the other creative industries are like, yeah, y'all are just now doing this. Like you just realize you need to be doing community building events. It's crazy.
Yeah, he has the audacity to actually sell stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Well, here's the thing. So I think the beauty of doing things well for the long term actually work out from a business standpoint. All right. But you cannot be thinking about it from a business sense. But you know, hey, this is good. This is good for my community. This is good for long term. And when you start breaking things down, you say, oh, snap. From a numbers basis, this actually maps out. Like Russell providing his music as something that his fans can invest in, right? Well, when I zoom out and think about it, it's not just, oh, wow, this is amazing. Like, this is a really cool thing to build a relationship, da-da-da. That's cool. And I'm sure he's not thinking about it maybe to the extent that I'm about to explain. But if we think about music as a loss leader, right? Which pretty much has been the approach for years, even in many of the better times of music, it's been looked at that way. All right. So that should tell us something, and things are getting worse per se. So it's still a loss leader. Well, if I know this is my loss leader, why do I not give it to my fans, right? Have them have a stronger relationship. And now it's almost like a break-even product, right?
Yeah.
You own my music and now you want me to win, but except it's even better because as a business, I sell you one thing and now I have your attention and your data so I can sell you something else. However, here, I'm the business, but then I'm selling you something that I'm already not going to really profit that much off of in the first place. And now you're a part of the business. So you're going to be encouraged to buy more stuff because it's helping yourself. So I really don't even have to sell you as strongly, right? So it's a really cool relationship that, again, I don't think it's like super thought out where I'm only doing this because I want to establish this relationship, but effectively it does, which is why that long-term thinking in so many ways for those who are willing to thug it out and do the unscalable things end up winning long-term.
Yeah.
And just to add on what he's saying, that's how Apple became number one. That's how Apple beat IBM and the PC. What did they do? They were doing computers. And then they said, you know what? Let's do the iPod. Y'all remember the iPods? And let's let people buy music or download their favorite song for $1. Change the game. It changed the game. So now people buy iPods so they can hear thousands of their songs in a little device instead of walking around with the big portable CD players and a book of CDs. You know what I'm saying? Y'all remember that? Now they got your information. Now they got your email. Now you know what I'm saying? Now they could sell you the next iPod. Now they can sell you the next computer, the next laptop. Now you got hey, you know what? We got the iPhone. You can get your music in the phone. And every year they got a new phone. And every year they got a new laptop. So they use music to pull you in. Same concept. Crazy.
You know, you look at you said loss leader, right? And for those of you out there who are like, don't know, is that like at the grocery store, the thing that the grocery store makes the least money on is milk and eggs. Historically, up until last year, eggs were very cheap, you know, but because of all the money printing, they've exploded in terms of price. But, you know, eggs and milk, where are they located in the grocery store?
Peace out.
Back.
Like the back, right? You enter in the front left, they're in the back right. and you have to walk through all these other products in order to go get them. And so you're filling up your cart as you go. And there's these big display stands because if you, and for those of you out there who are like, don't know, is that like at the grocery store, the thing that the grocery store makes the least money on is milk and eggs. Historically, up until last year, eggs were very cheap, but because of all the money printing, they've exploded in terms of price. But, eggs and milk, where are they located in the grocery store?
Back.
Like the back, right? You enter in the front left, they're in the back right. And you have to walk through all these other products in order to go get them. And so you're filling up your cart as you go. And there's these big display stands because if you only walk out with milk and eggs, they're not going to make any money, barely. It's not even worth having you in the store, which is why they are constantly trying to get you to fill up the cart on the way. And we use this to explain a lot of different things. It's a great analogy for like lots of different things in digital business.
That's how the malls be too, man. You got to go through a whole freaking maze, man. I'm like, yo, I'm just trying to get some fucking jeans. Why I got to walk through all this shit, man? Bruh. It's always the trick. And don't forget about the checkout line. While you waiting, they got all the candies, the cakes, and the this and the that right there staring at you. You know what I mean? It's a dirty game, folks. A dirty game.
But ultimately to say that, like, if music is your loss leader, it's what gets them there. But most musicians stop there. They're like, we're just going to give away milk and eggs. Just give it away, give it away, give it away. And at some point, a more capable business person will turn us into a grocery store. And it's like, no, you should be grocery store from day one. Yeah. And so that's always been our argument. Now, currently, I would say that like artists are very scared to sell. And
Facts.
I think it's important for artists to when you guys say, your music is a business and you are a business as an artist. What that means is that businesses interact with people who are not the business customers through transactions, right? The point, like the communication medium from business to customer is transactions. It's not like, here's some free stuff, here's some more free stuff, here's some more free stuff, here's some more free stuff. Go review or like add us to a playlist. Like that's not, it's actual dollars exchanged for value. And artists are very poor at thinking of themselves that way. So much so that like if they make any offer, they feel like they're like the scum of the earth or something like that. And it's like, dude, you're a business. So like most of what you do should be communicating with customers through offers and transactions.
I got to bring that back because that's real. I too deal with that. Like you heard me earlier. I was like, all right, I got to do this. I got to play this. You know what I mean? I got to play me promoting my masterclass and membership because it feels awkward for me. But I spent so much time and money on it. Why wouldn't I? You know what I'm saying? That's real. And we got to get over that. We got to get over that, including myself. It's the music business. It's a capitalist system. We want to do what we love, but we can't do what we love without earning a living or bringing in income to pay our bills and take care of our families. No doubt. Real talk. Let the reprogramming start.
You are a business as an artist. What that means is that businesses interact with people who are not the business customers through transactions, right? The point, like the communication medium from business to customer is transactions. It's not like, here's some free stuff, here's some more free stuff, here's some more free stuff, here's some more free stuff. Go review or like add us to a playlist. Like that's not, it's actual dollars exchanged for value. And artists are very poor at thinking of themselves that way. So much so that like if they make any offer, they feel like they're like the scum of the earth or something like that. And it's like, dude, you're a business. So like most of what you do should be communicating with customers through offers and transactions.
Yeah. See, and I think we're in a time where all roads have led to this, right? So you're alluding to artists selling earlier on, but even if you look at all the other messaging around this and where the industry is, that is what you're supposed to do when you think about it. Because one, fans have been primed to want to support artists. They're more aware of what artists are going through, and they want direct access. So the marketplace is primed for that type of relationship, right? And then on the other end, we say labels don't want to invest in an artist who doesn't have a fan base, who's not popping already. And then how do people summarize it? Artists want to really labels want to invest in small businesses instead of a startup artist that's just more of an idea and establish that. Well, if you're a small business, you don't just have a lot of people coming in the store. Something, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like really to pull that all together, it's just reminding yourself that music is only a part of the revenue stream for an artist, and it always has been. Right, we've always seen it, known this, but when we stay in the idea and theme of music, we tend not to think about the touring, brand deals, like the people who become actors and actresses. Like there's so many different ways. You're really just a personality, and the title that they put on you is based on how you decided to monetize and brand yourself. But politician, right? a Will Smith, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, like wrestler, but then he gets into all these movies, right? Like it's just a well-known figure, and you decide how you want to monetize it. That's it.
Yeah, 100%. I think like when you decide I'm in the music industry, I'm an artist, and I monetize through music alone, streaming royalties for the most part, you're basically saying I want to be institutionally impoverished. I want to make the least amount of money per ounce of effort I put in that I possibly can. Like there's no other industry that's like, you think if the laundry services industry had Drake followings that they'd be making as, just slightly more than the music industry? No, like it's an audience problem. Music industry has the opposite problem. And so, I would 100% agree that like, the more you think of yourself as an artist that monetizes entirely through music, the more trouble you're going to have. And really, I want to make the point that like the music, like record labels, as much as I despise record labels, they're not bad at this. They just exclusively choose to do it for the shiniest, prettiest, most popular artists that they can find. So if you
and that's a fact too. That's the thing the music industry has. It's like this code of coolness, the swagger, the sexiness, right? I'm probably going to give a bad example, but let's say you with your family, you go out and that's an unfair one. I was going to say President Biden. That's unfair. All right, let's say Clinton. Clinton had the personality. Let's say Clinton is in the room and Beyonce is in the room. Who do you think your family wants to meet more? Who do you think would get more kudos if they say, hey, I met? It's just a certain type of swag, certain type of coolness that comes with that. So that's what has its value. But we have to know, like, that's fame, cool fame. You get what I mean. Yes, B. Like, yo, you met Clinton, the former president. No, nigga, you met Beyonce. Oh my God, I love her music. Because you're going to love her music more than you like his speeches. That's just what it is. And he's a highly intelligent man. He got his swag. He even played the saxophone out this motherfucker. But he don't have that same cool factor. So that's what the music business has going for itself. But we have to realize that cool factor alone is not enough.
Go look up on the internet. You can look at trademark registrations. When I register for a trademark, like say I register Circa as a trademark, I have to list all of the industries I plan to enter with that trademark.
That's facts.
So online, you can see all of my plans for what to do with the Circa brand. You can go look up the Justin Bieber trademark registration. You'll find keychains, perfumes, action figures, every possible field of monetization that they could do with the Justin Bieber brand. They registered for from day one.
Facts.
Okay. So they knew the money is going to come from the lipsticks and the little action figurines, but they don't do that with someone who might have 1 million following, 500,000 following. They don't see it as worth it. And maybe it's not for them, but just to say that like the captains, the titans of this industry, they are not stupid. They just sort of don't care if you flounder in obscurity and poverty as someone with a 500K following, because it's just not worth it. So yeah.
But they're not stupid. They deploy their intelligence selectively.
Yeah, I'd say so. I think for them, it doesn't matter because there's 1,000 artists. They have 1,000 artists with 500K, 1 million, 2 million. They don't care. They're the person that's going to pay for all of those is the judge.
And that's what people got to remember about the major labels and major publishers. You look at them because it's one of the few. I'm with a major publisher. There's only a few. But writers signed to it, thousands. Is it as bad as 100,000 artists being uploaded to Spotify? No, but still. It depends on what I do and how much people are talking to me that I could get the meeting right away, that my phone calls will get accepted. So that's what it is. People think the opposite. They think, oh, I'm with the major. They're going to make me big. They should be helping me be this. They're supposed to take me to this level. They signed me. I made it. Mama, I made it. Soulja Boy Drake, nigga, we made it. It's not the case. It's like a kid in a family of 12. And you the middle child. Middle child always get forgotten about. You got to do something to get the attention. You understand? You got to do something. You got to make some noise. You got to make them charts. You got to get those influencers talking about you. That's what it is.
Justin Bieber. So they're mostly worried and exclusively focused on that. But, that's of no comfort to the person who is one of those 1,000, right? That sucks for them. And so I try to make the point that like you're your only you. For them, you're 1,000 yous. They don't care. And so you're going to put outsized attention, outsized focus, outsized, massive action into making you work. They won't. So keep that in mind.
What do you say to?
And on a side note that I want to say to all my members of my membership, in case some of y'all wondering, that's the advantage I personally have. There's 1,000, and I haven't had a Billboard hit in a decade. Real talk. Not ashamed to admit it. I don't look at it as a failure because I'm still going. I just took a break to figure out how I want to take this shit over and not compromise. And I had a lot of personal shit going on too. That's a whole nother subject. But regardless of all of that, my reputation and my relationships stand for itself. I have a first degree relationship with the top people and respect. And all I need to do is bring them something that will help them. You understand what I'm saying? So my point is, I'm not trying to deal with the people already in the matrix, already dealing with whatever the trend is, whatever the low vibrational shit. I'm trying to find new people with fresh ideas that think and have the energy I have and match it and reinforce what I'm trying to do. That's the whole point of my membership. That's the whole point of paying attention to who's paying attention to me. Because you're paying attention to me for some reason. Some of y'all might be the wrong reason. I'm not going to lie. But I feel like most of y'all is a good reason and the right reason. So I want to let you understand like what the whole point of it is. What the whole point of it is. This ain't me trying to get you to give me likes and give me follows and subscribe. $5 on Twitch so Twitch could take 50% and they did nothing to promote me. Like, this is not about that for me. You know what I mean? It's really about finding my tribe, as they say. I'm using the internet to find my tribe because I know there's strength in numbers. So I kid around, I'll do my thing. On the feedbacks, I'll drink a little drink. It's all good. But I'm not just doing shit just to do shit. There's a point and purpose to it. Make no mistake.
Artists who don't like that idea, right? Because you're alluding to something that are
comfort to the person who is one of those 1,000, right? That sucks for them. And so I try to make the point that like you're your only you. For them, you're 1,000 yous. They don't care. And so you're going to put outsized attention, outsized focus, outsized, massive action into making you work. They won't. So keep that in mind.
What do you say to artists who don't like that idea, right? Because you're alluding to something that artists have not liked for a minute. They've expressed, I just want to be an artist, right? I don't want to sell all these other things. And you
I hear that all the time.
We agreed that the money's going to come from all the time. Stuff. It's going to be pretty tough, at least very tough, to just do music solely and, live very well that way.
Yeah. I mean, some of my best friends are artists who are living off of their Spotify check. Mm-hmm. And it's more than enough to pay their bills. They can reinvest some back in, and they haven't yet tapped merch or anything like that or touring. So they're just an artist on Spotify with a large following. To get there, it took, this one kid I'm thinking of in particular, he innovated a model for building playlists on Spotify and populating them with Facebook. In fact, LaRussell caught a tip off of his friend who caught a tip off of him, who caught a tip off of me about Facebook ads around this era. So it's a very, very cool intersection of stories. But basically he took Facebook ads and was like, I can blow up Spotify playlists with this. I can put, bigger artists I admire, and then myself. And I can make it seem as if there's this company promoting these playlists just to grow a playlist following and sell playlist slots.
Yep.
But really I'm behind it and I'm putting myself, in good company, so to speak.
Yep.
He did that. He now has like, we started off probably when he started doing this, he had like 200K to 300K monthly listeners. He had been doing playlist strategies before. Now he's at like 1 million and he's doing great. And his Spotify check pays all of his bills.
Now you hear that? You see that? He's using the system. He's using Facebook ads, AKA bots. That's what Chad was talking about, AKA bots. He's using Facebook ads, AKA bots. Same system, different way.
I can blow up Spotify playlists with this. I can put, bigger artists I admire, and then myself. And I can make it seem as if there's this company promoting these playlists just to grow a playlist following and sell playlist slots.
Yeah.
But really, I'm behind it.
And that might be something to it, Hive. I don't know what the whole shit is and whose playbook you using or talking about. But like, for example, there was a clip going around and about, how Instagram and Facebook be like, oh, you can boost this post. Pay this and you can boost this post. And he said basically that's a waste of time. Why would you pay to boost your post when you can just pay for ads? And I'm talking from experience. For my masterclass and membership service, I pay for ads. And I've gotten so much reach. I haven't gotten a lot of conversion because it takes more than doing it once, for get people to pull the trigger, so to speak. People don't pull the trigger off for one shit unless they already trust you as a brand, trust you as a entity of something. And, most people look at masterclass and courses as scams. I get it. And most people don't know who I am and what I represent right away. But my track record speaks for itself if people look it up. I'm not here to scam nobody. I don't believe in scams. I believe in giving you real shit from day one. You know what I mean? But advertising works. That's what it's about. You know what I'm saying? Advertising is what it's about. But deliver on what you're advertising. That's the key. You have to deliver.
And I'm putting myself, in good company.
Appreciate that, Hive Man.
He did that. He now has like, we started off probably when he started doing this, he had like 200K to 300K monthly listeners. He had been doing playlist strategies before. Now he's at like 1 million and he's doing great. And his Spotify check pays all of his bills. I would say that's not the majority case, but I don't want to sit here and tell you it's impossible. Like the economy is such right now that you can make an all right living off of that. If you're single, you have no kids, and you work extremely hard for 5 years to get to a point where that Spotify check's paying your bills. I would say it's making it harder on yourself to do so, and you're incredibly unlikely to do so. And there's always the risk that Spotify craters tomorrow because all the companies like Spotify in this economic environment are cratering. So
the Spotify check paying bills is nice, right?
Yeah.
However, when it's paying your bills and then you want to continue to grow, like how do you maintain these numbers, right? There's constant effort that has to be put out, and I think that's where the struggle goes. You hear about it paying people's bills, but it's like, okay, well, how do I continue to grow my business? How fast can I reinvest in my business if this is all I have, right? And an all right life, like he's saying, well, do I have a wife or kids, or like what does my life look like? Because some people's version of all right is not other people's version, right? Yeah, so 100%. And I think that's the difficulty that it comes down to, is just like, if there are those special people where they have a certain lifestyle and they don't want more, most musicians I run into still want more and they want to reach a certain point. I just don't find it to be realistic. I think if I find it to be realistic to say, hey, how can I get this as high of a number as possible? Of course. But even in most of those situations, unless I want to limit how fast I grow and how much I grow, I'm going to really, again, use this as some type of overhead loss leader, and I need to flip and make most of my money somewhere else.
Yeah, like the individual I'm talking about is an incredibly rare individual, and is young and is okay with having roommates. There's all these factors that go into it's okay for him, you know? Yeah. So
a period of time, right? You talk about a period of time when that Facebook tip, right, was more effective than probably it is now, right?
100%. Yes, he's no longer building Spotify playlists with Facebook ads. Yeah.
Right. A lot of times when we follow these figures, just like with Russ, right? Like, well, his era of SoundCloud, by the time you find out about him, a lot of those technological loopholes have, gone
away. Cultural moments, right? Like SoundCloud was a cultural moment.
Cultural moments, exactly. So you have to take the framework, the idea that it occurred, but usually the route to get to that point is going to be different.
Yeah. I definitely want to avoid sitting here and telling people like you cannot make a comfortable living off of Spotify alone. Like there are people out there for whom that's going to be true. Yes. The broad majority of people, it will not be true. And I'm expressly worried about those people. Because it's definitely tough. And if you don't like, this kid's particularly hip in terms of musical genres and styles, right? Like it's not, like he has the right music for it to work in the streaming era with playlists and all that. And it's not everybody. It's a very slim minority of people. So.
Well, there's another idea, because we kind of touched on community. You brought up La Russell earlier, and this is just in my mind because somebody made a comment on a video that we did. There's multiple comments, but this one,
was it me? I'm in your guys' comments all the time.
Not you. There was somebody alluding to the fact that he had a ceiling. I think the video was maybe about him making $150,000, and someone was like, well, yeah, he's not going to be able to do that again. Or they're talking about the lack of scalability in his model, right? And here's my issue. It's like, bro, you have to do the work. The unscalable part is a part of the work. Things become more scalable as you get more sources. Everybody's starting off acting as if they're a multi-million or even billion-dollar company, thinking that everything has to be super scalable, everything has to be super optimized. It's usually going to be those actions that occur that allow you to get to the point where you can think a little bit more like that. So we take these surface level business understandings and try to apply it like we really know what we're talking about. So this is the way I summarize it, right? I'll just leave it at this because I want to hear your thoughts on it, especially for an artist. But those unscalable actions, community building type of actions especially, they will scale your culture and your brand, right?
Totally. Yeah.
Those other actions where you're trying to scale your business, totally different. But the more you scale your brand, et cetera, if you're good at monetizing, the better the business will be long term.
Yeah. So first of all, like not even your average marketing professional or even like CMO at a company has any idea what the hell they're talking about when they say the word scalable. Okay. It's just an incredibly common. So Ryan Dice, who's the head of digital marketer, gave a keynote speech 2 years ago at their Trafficking Conversion Summit. He led off the thing by saying, we need to stop saying that's not scalable. He said that the quickest way to kill a great idea before it even gets started is to say that's not scalable. And And he made this big point about how they had all these initiatives over the last 2 years that produce outsized returns, and they're not scalable ideas. We're going to talk to every customer who signs up for our, $95 a month product. We're going to, do all of these podcast things that have no direct monetization. Like, there's all these different things that the average person would say is not scalable. You cannot do it at 1 million units per, but it doesn't matter because, how do I say this? Another good analogy is like when you buy a stock, right? You have unlimited upside potential. The stock could go from $100 to $1 million. When you short a stock, which is betting that it will go down, they say, yeah, but your upside potential is only 2x. It could only go to 0. You can only make 100% of your investment back. Whereas if I'm going long on a stock, it can go to 1 million. And it's like, yeah, but it's not gonna. And even if it did, you would sell at 2x. So this argument that like going short on it is only going to give you 100% returns. It's like you don't get 100% returns on any of your, investments. So it doesn't matter. And so this whole scalable thing is like presuming that we're going to go to 1 million units. Chances are we're not going to. So what can we do locally that's actually going to make it a positive impact? So I'd say that like the Russell's model not being scalable, it's like, okay, he did this unscalable thing for 3 years straight. What can he now do because he did that?
Yeah. Exactly.
And is that scalable?
Exactly.
I think the part that gets left out a lot of the time aspect, because you said it with the streaming revenue, right? Like most artists that I know that are profitable purely through streaming, it took them at least like 4 or 5 years to do it, And then so then you talk about like, hey, artists are okay with doing like 4 or 5 years of music work, like releasing music, maybe doing shows and things like that to build up this really small check in the future versus like you could spend maybe half of that time and possibly come out with a 5x spend, because we made the point of like, LaRussell doesn't stream as well as a lot of artists in the industry, but he makes more money than a lot of artists in the industry because of exactly what you guys just talked about. So I look at it like, where's the value of the effort best spent? You know what I'm saying? Like I don't remember who the guy that said to us, but it might be like Alex from Mosey always says, right? Like if I told you, you can make $1 million tomorrow, or you can make $10 million in 10 years, like which one would you take? You know what I'm saying? Like most people take the $1 million tomorrow over the 10 million in 10. You know what I'm saying? And I see it a lot with the artist community. Like, hey, I want the immediate check today, which is the streaming revenue, although I could make 300,000 in 2 years from that if I just focus on talking to everybody in my Discord or or whatever that community building stuff looks like.
So an anecdote is that this gentleman on our agency, Andy Hunter, he has a band called As December Falls. Over the last 5 years, they've sold out a different tour every year and just grown the cap and the amount of dates as they go. And they did it all with Facebook ads and like ticketing funnels, just selling directly to people who have no idea who they are. And they all come to the shows. And now they're at a point where they're getting festival billings and they're able to have those kinds of agreements because they just have such a strong track record of selling tickets that they can get booked at more impressive places. And he told me that they were on bills with people like, he was like, we don't have the clout. We don't have like Spotify clout. We don't have press clout. And all these artists that we're playing with, that we're billing with do. And he's like, we want to try to get some of that. And then he did the festival. And I talked to him afterwards and he's like, we're in the green room with bands who are like the media darlings in our genre right now. And they're on benefits. In the UK, benefits is like welfare. Okay. And he said they get like $600 to $1,000 a month from the label and they're on benefits. And it's like, he's making money. He has a whole business, like, he probably makes the most per fan out of anyone on that bill. And this includes people like Green Day.
It's the illusion.
So yeah, it's really, it's outsized returns for the amount of effort. The key thing that we've been doing over the last year with artists working one-on-one, before we had this thing called the free plus shipping and handling funnel. It's a concept in marketing that like everyone knows. It's not ours. We didn't invent it. We just ported it over from direct response marketing to music. Mm-hmm. And it's like, we're going to give away this loss leader item. Yep. And this is another important point about loss leaders is like the reason you ever come up with a loss leader is because you already have a product that it leads to.
Yes.
You're not just in the business of making loss leaders.
Just to lose, yeah.
Yeah. So like the product comes first. How you're going to make money off of it is first, and then you come up with the loss leader. But yeah, so the loss leader in this case is a free CD. And all the arguments come out of like people don't listen to CDs anymore, and no one cares, and they don't know who you are, and it's like, okay, but it works somehow still. I don't know how. I don't have any logical reason for why, because I don't think people have CD players. But they're offering a free CD.
I don't.
The ad is just like a master cut of their most exciting content. And it's just like, we've allocated this budget to give away these CDs. You just pay shipping and handling. And the shipping and handling in some cases will cover the costs of printing the CD, but not always. That's not necessarily the goal. But ultimately you should roughly break even plus ad costs. But the key is that it's a loss leader. So when you go to checkout for the free CD, you put in your credit card information to pay for the shipping and handling. And then now we've crossed the bridge of putting in your credit card information, which doing this is the hardest thing to do in online business, right? Getting them to, okay, I'm going to pull it out and type in the numbers and stuff. Once you're past that, there's no friction to adding additional items to their cart. Yep. And so once they've checked out, they will offer an additional CD from their catalog, or like a merch item to go along with it. So they'll choose different follow-up items, and once you're there, it's a one click to add it to your cart, and then it processes. So all the friction's behind them, and they can just add items, as much as the customer feels comfortable or wants to get. And so relatively unknown artists are taking their ad spend, and for every dollar put into this ad campaign in this marketing funnel, you're getting $3, $4, $5, $6 back. They're making like 600% immediate return on their investment. And so
magic, especially for an artist.
Right. It's not a new strategy. This thing's like 10 years old. Right?
All right, so on that note, I think we did enough strategy, enough philosophy, enough music business 101, or business of music 101. Appreciate everybody hanging out. On that note, I'm going to make some CDs and get a CD player so I can play my old one. And I'll see some of y'all Monday. Peace out.
How y'all feel out there?
I was Hive Mind, Kive, Scotty was in here earlier. Dracia was in here. Alan, shout out to Alan as well. Chris Acosta. Everybody that stopped through on the pop-up. Appreciate y'all. Yeah. Later.